The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
2-hour pod, and I'm not even joking. I think this one actually was 2 hours. So got together last night. Right now it's the 9th of January. Got together last night right before and right into the beginning of the Spurs game, which was, as everyone knows, a pretty good game. And the Bucks continue their pattern of like bad game, bad game, bad game, good game, mediocre game. But I'm pretty sure we talk about all of this. I feel like we've kind of been trying to, when we get together, make it like an hour. But this was super fun talking a lot. Have no idea how coherent it is, as always. But yeah, it was fun. So let's listen together, and I'll edit if I need to jump in and clean something up. That's what we'll do. Enjoy.
If I got to drive more than 4 hours, I'm going to probably try to find a flight,
Like Rivian went to their Rivian Plus, whenever you pay $150 a year or something like that for that, and you get Google, and you can stream and get your hotspot and stuff. It's
right.
I don't mind it for Rivian because they're trying to create a revenue stream.
Is it Rivian or Rivian? I was always saying it like Evian, like Rivian. Rivian sounds like a Midwestern kind of.
Yeah, I think it's Rivian.
I don't know.
When I bought that act like 20 years ago from that dude in Pensacola, and he was like, it's an Acura, and he just wouldn't be come off the square that it's an Acura. I got that Acura. Oh, that's a nice green Acura. And I'm like, I think it's Acura, man. He's literally was like Billy Bob with overalls, and it's like Acura. Like Acura. And I was like, no, I don't think so, but don't really have
Shakira?
any proof for that.
Right,
like Shakira. It's terrible. So hey, we were gonna podcast, videocast, whatever we want to call this thing now. Welcome to Teutonia World Presents. We were gonna do this anyway. I haven't done anything, put out any content since the Brewers got eliminated, but then of course the kind of walked back news that Khris got moved to the bench, maybe didn't get to the bench. Chris Haynes deleted the tweet. Name confirmed it later. Now it seems like Doc Rivers is saying it's a minutes thing, it's a tendonitis thing. So I think it's maybe nothing, but hey, it's content. So we haven't talked about the Packers, haven't talked about the Bucks. But Kendrick's here, Cribb's here, Jay may be coming later, somebody else may be coming later or not. But hey, what's going on?
Good to see you guys.
What's happening?
You want to do Packers? Or you want to do Bucks? You want to complain about LaFleur? You want to complain about Jimmy Butler? I mean, I could literally. I feel the takes need to be popped like a pimple for me at this point. So I got my little beverage here, but I don't. I'm gonna just relax and see what the people who've actually been watching sports think about what's going on.
You started up, Crib.
Somebody start.
The fans want to talk about the Bucks. I mean, they're here for the Bucks. They're here for those takes on the Bucks.
Let's get the Packers out of the way real quick, or we can add it on to the end. We'll just add it on
again. We never follow format, and whoever talks first wins. Whoever, I don't know.
The Packers is really quick. There's not really much to talk about. The season will end like it began, and the season will be over on Monday. Everybody can be like, oh, missed opportunities. Jordan Love was hurt, and if they could only stay healthy, and blah blah blah. And Matt LaFleur is a great coach, and everybody will be happy. And then 2-3 years from now, people are like, "Wow, this team's really underachieved because they have a terrible coach who doesn't know what he's doing."
I think we got a lot more to talk about than that. But let's start with Khris Middleton being benched, since that's the most recent thing in the news. I think that's a good thing for the team and for him. It takes a little bit of pressure off him. I know it's an ego thing for these guys. But as long as you get your minutes and you're contributing to a win, and at this point he's got to know that he is limited defensively, and they can't have him and Dame on the floor at the same time because they just get victimized. They just get blown by almost every possession. So they get hunted, sought out, seeked and destroyed on pick and rolls. I think it's just smart management of your personnel that you have. You got to keep Ajax on the floor He's just so dynamic, even though, his scoring isn't what we would love it to be. I think if he could just learn how to make a layup, he would actually be quite valuable. It's like Dante in his beginning years, a lot of energy, a lot of positive minutes, but man, give that boy the pressure of a layup and he'll brick it almost every time. So Ajax is getting better with that. That weird release on that three actually goes in sometimes. He's over 30%. So,
It's either all nylon or it's nothing.
yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty dope. You
So
like
I like
you
the
like
idea.
TP in the starting lineup versus
Yep.
Gary Trent?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You like
Gary
Trent's
Trent's got to
energy?
come off the bench too. I think that role helped boost the bench. Um, he's not that great of a ball handler, but it helps off. I think TP is a little bit better, a little bit more poised, and just a smidge more better on defense.
He likes to play the Wes Matthews position.
That you need that position. Every team has that position.
What is it that you have against glue guys? You have like
glue guys. I'm talking about the guys who they're just jackers all the time. These guys he's chucking it every time.
He was shooting over 47% for a long time.
Yeah, he was. And then he kept shooting.
I missed it all.
Well, that's what he's supposed to do. We're not talking to you. You didn't watch, so you just listen.
I really am. I'm learning so much. And literally like I'm doing the like TP. Who is TP? Who is TP? Like why would Torian Prince allow himself to be like TP? Like
that's crib.
But like I've heard that
moniker.
before, and I'm like, wait, that's not the Nassus. Wait, he's not on the team. Yeah, no.
No.
Just as a brief baseline for everybody. The season started. I was immediately mad. I watched the first Celtics game, and then it wasn't like so much I took a stand, but I didn't care to watch. And it'd be the kind of thing where you come home and they're already down 15 and you check on Twitter and everybody's mad. And I didn't watch from like the Celtics game to the Celtics game to the next Celtics game. And then they went on this winning streak, and I'm like, well, of course the game I come back they're going to lose, but then they just kind of kept that'd be the one they lose, and then they just kind of kept winning for a while. I did watch the Cup, just as not that any listeners care about what happened, and obviously we had a death that we all took kind of hard, and so there was just more important stuff going on. What I will say, first of all, dog, I got clowned at work for that NBA Cup, man. Like I got and just keeping it real, that I got so clowned. It was like, oh, you got your little award. Like that was like the most. It was like I was embarrassed to show up for work. And I don't really talk. Like I don't really talk sports at work because I don't really care about anybody else's opinion other than mine like that. But man, dude, the Lakers fan, the Heat, everybody was, especially the Celtics guy, was like, "Oh, you got your little cup, huh? You got your like that midseason trophy. Well, that's gonna go in your trophy case. That's all you're getting this year." It was like, I mean, it was like we had won. It was like Milwaukee had a WNBA team and we won like a WNBA chip, and they were like, there you go, my guy, there you go." And I was like, man, this is like. I was really happy to beat who was that? OKC, I almost said the Grizzlies that they beat, but it was so I've seen about 10 games this year, and I've watched highlights of another 5. So I have my general thoughts and my well-worn what's wrong with this team takes, but just as a little aside, that's what's going on with that. So yeah, continue.
I mean, they're the same they're the same as the Packers, right? Like it's fun to watch. The Bucks are scrappy. Like 5 seed, 6 seed probably. They'll be fun to watch. They'll be competitive, but they're not winning anything. I mean, neither are the Packers. It's the same thing. It's just kind of underperformed. The Bucks. The only thing I would say about the Bucks that I wonder about, the Packers have no chance. The Bucks, I do wonder in the first round, like when it becomes a half court offense. Can they be more competitive in the playoffs? Bigger guys. They do seem to be moving better than they were early in the season, off ball. When they've lost more recently here, like after the Cup games, it feels like you've gone back to some of that stagnant offense. And that's probably because Khris Middleton is playing and he's terrible and can't move anyway. So
Why? Why? Wise words. Why would you say something so brave and yet so true?
That's trash.
I mean, let's like can we just be real about like middle like him coming off the bench is he should have never been starting in the first place. If they want to walk it back, that's fine. But he's not a starter. He's not good enough to be a starter
On this team?
Yeah, he's not a starter on this team.
I disagree. But I don't feel like going into this Middleton debate.
Well, that's why we should have started with the pack. That's why we should have started with the Packers. We got to. It's been a while for all of us. We got to ease our way to even with these takes. Like
you don't want to get right into the.
Well, you notice like all the hate is gone. There is no hate to like let the hate flow through. I'm like, yeah. Brooke has really been disappointing, and I'm still really blame Portis for the Pacer series and. Sure. And Dame, wow, Dame, a lot of empty calories when he's not on. Like we got to get him 30 shots up, or also Dame, not too different from Trae Young in this modern and flopping NBA. Like just a lot of like, hey Chuck, and like he's not getting the calls. Like he was a much better player 5 years ago.
Yeah, he plays for those calls, and he got so used to doing that, and now. I think he stopped doing it as much. I mean, I think the refereeing really gave him food to think about. Like, you're not going to get this call. I mean, they'll give it to everybody else on the Bucks, but they will not give him that call. And I think that was good for him because he just stopped relying on it and really started focusing on trying to make the shot.
Just play. Don't play. You play to the whistle, not for the whistle. You know what I'm saying?
Way better than that, you know. Yeah. Even that last 4-point play he got in the last game, that was trash. He kicked his leg out, you know, and I'm a fan of all these guys. I don't like Dame's defense. I don't like Chris's slowed down physicality and athletic ability, but I still think that they all have their positive sides. Dame can come through in a clutch. Dame can handle ball pressures pretty decently unless you send in 4 people and none of the rest of the Bucks scramble to help him. But I think he has some positive assets. His defense is just, I mean, it's right up there with Harden, Luka. It's just disgustingly bad.
Isn't he like of all those guys?
But he tries once. You know, it's not a recovery.
So Kendrick, because I want to ask you, am I being a hater with this? Because this is a backhanded compliment, but I don't actually. It's more focused on the compliment, not so much on the backhanded.
With all due respect,
with all due respect, he didn't try in 2019 and 2018.
Okay,
he tried. I really think like if you ever watch highlights from back then, he was just kind of trying harder than Jabari. And it's like this irony that once he started trying, his body was gone. But he does jump. Like I swear I watched like 82 games one year and didn't see him jump for a rebound once. In his physical prime, like 2017, 2018, he just didn't do that stuff. Yeah. And maybe he got in better shape, like kinetically or whatever. But I do feel like now I do see him try. He fights over screens. He does what he can. He's abysmal, but I feel like he's abysmal in a different way than he used to be defensively. My beef with him is just his overratedness and the turnovers. But like, I do feel like 2023, 2024 Khris, and maybe it's just because he never plays and there's no back-to-backs and today take a month off. But I do feel every time I turn on, like he's trying to compete and like, 2016, 2017.
Are you talking about Middleton or Dame?
I'm talking about Middleton. I don't feel like he tried when he was 30, and I feel like he's trying now. Like just like play over play. But tell me, is that even accurate, or is it just I'm focusing on just a few plays?
The championship year, I think, was, to me, that was the best I've seen Khris try and play defense throughout that time period. No, you guys, I think you guys are always comparing him to somebody that's a superstar or, you know, or Drew Holiday or that he's standing next to or Giannis that he's standing next to.
No. But
this dude's got tree trunk legs and he's doing pretty well for what he's got physically.
2019, Eric Name and everybody else told me he could guard Kawhi, and him and Brogdon were like seeing.
No.
Kawhi, but I'm just saying, like 2019 against the Raptors, they were like, don't be surprised. They were like, well, don't ask him to do offense and that. But him and Brogdon, did an okay job on Kawhi, even though Kawhi just destroyed us. But like it was, so he competed in 2019
Yeah,
in the playoffs. But
and he's
like
6 years younger too. So
I don't think that was ever the problem. I don't think everybody. I never thought the guy was an all-star. I just felt like the Bucks
he never
fans
was.
felt like right. Bucks fans always just felt like he was so great, and he was incredibly overrated.
well,
He
we
never
always
should
have to do that. What have we had for 50 years? Well, look at the people we've
It was
cheered
like the
for over
guy
the
was off
years.
limits. You could never talk about how terrible he was, or if the Bucks should trade him. Oh, you can't trade Chris Middleton. He's silky smooth, Chris. Ho, like get out of here with that. He's not. He's not, and he's even worse now. He's even worse now.
even if you wanna say his all-star appearances are legitimate, which they're not. Two of them certainly weren't. The other one, like COVID broke off and it was a short season. But certainly, I think the COVID season he was 15. He was between the 15th and 20th best player in the league for 52 games or whatever that was. Like the Bucks were super hot that year. Other than that, he's basically a one-time All-Star. But even you want to say he's a three-time All-Star in the East, we wasted all this time and all this money. And what I found very comforting today, looking at Twitter on a lunch break, whatever, is like we're on like year 8 of you can't trade him for the salary slot or for this or the salary. Like every version of the salary cap that I don't pay attention to, there's some reason you can't trade him.
When would you have traded him?
Last year, the year before that, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 20. Like I would have traded him.
Right after they won the chip.
You guys always say this, okay?
We've been arguing about this. We've been arguing about this since Kemba Walker. Since I was like, hey, can we get Kemba Walker? Can we get Isaiah Thomas the second?
Kemba Walker.
Can we get Jimmy Butler like 3
out
times
of the league
ago?
right now?
Right. So
what my point is that you guys have always said, and people who always say this, let's trade him. They say that in a vacuum, without any regard for what's available out there, what teams have interest, and what you actually can get for him, or what are you going to get for him, and what do you have to get that?
Would you trade him right now? Would you do the package with him and Bobby to get Jimmy?
No.
Because of Chris.
Jimmy's a year younger. Jimmy's only a year younger than Brooke. Jimmy is 35 years old. He'll be 36 next year. He has injury issues just as much as Chris. He's missed just as. Check him out. Check out his games played.
I'm talking about the type of injuries. I'm not talking games played. I don't think he's had bilateral
Who cares
ankle
what
surgery.
type of injuries? I mean, Giannis ripped his finger open yesterday. Wow, let's rip off people who do
No, I'm just saying
injuries?
there's different types of injuries for guys at different types of positions.
I'm just looking at availability. That's the best ability. If you're not on the court, who cares?
Your best ability.
Who cares if you're not on the court? Who cares what kind of injury?
I mean, that's not an argument for Middleton. It will surprise everyone. Maybe it won't, because I like to think I'm a little bit. I don't want Jimmy Butler, man. I don't like. I talk myself into.
Jimmy Butler has, well, maybe not in Miami, but now he has. He has toxified every place he has ever been.
Yeah,
hey,
that's true.
So no one agrees with me on this, and if Jay jumps on, I know Jay doesn't agree with me, but just hear me out on this. Hear me out on the idea of this. Jimmy Butler, because we're living through it now, but this is why, to me, Terrell Owens isn't a Hall of Famer. Or at least you can make a credit. Like, if you blow up ultimately, sports is about the fans. From my perspective. From other perspectives, it's about the players. If the players about the players, the owners about the owners, people who are employed, it's whatever else. But, like, from the fans' perspective, if all you do is destroy every situation you were ever in, that has to really adversely affect your standing. And 10 years from now, we'll have bigger problems. But it's people will be like, well, Jimmy Butler did this, had these runs, or did all these plays. He's destroyed every city, every situation. I think it's actually quite impressive, what he's done. And if we trade for him, I mean, I'm a Bucks fan, we'll rock with it or whatever. But I don't. Why would I want Jimmy Butler now? It would signal the end of the Bucks. The Bucks are dead anyway, probably, but it would be the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm. I don't want him. I don't want it. If he came, I'd be disappointed, but whatever. I think that we need to stop losing.
I wouldn't want to trade him for Bobby. I wouldn't want to lose Bobby more than that's more my concern.
Did you just ask? What did you put in this? You just put ask AI how many games they've played.
5 years, last 5 years.
So the
There
last
you go.
5 years, Middleton. What does that say? Middleton. Go ahead. You posted it. Read it. What does that say?
I didn't see it.
Middleton went so from 2020 to 21 he went 68, 66, 33, 55 and then 12 this season. Jimmy went 52, 57, 64, 64 and then 22 this year. So Khris 234, Jimmy 259.
Close.
Well, I mean, how many of those Khris games are him playing 20 minutes? But
Yeah.
like I don't. I mean, why invite cancer at this point?
No, I would agree with that.
This isn't a 2021 2022 conversation. Like this is. I'm just like honestly, I'm just as mad as Brooke Lopez and Bobby Portis and Doc Rivers, and I'm just as mad about 4 people as Khris. Like Khris is part of it, but like I was jumping on Khris before it was cool. Like I don't really care, you know.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. You got rid of Drew. Drew was such a huge glue guy. He made up for Chris's lapses. I mean, everybody's lapses.
Yep.
He was that coverall for that team. You got rid of him, and you also got rid of even like your Matthews. You got rid of Carter. You know, you lost some key pieces of people who understood the defense, even though they couldn't contribute so much on offense. You know, but
do you think that's what you're seeing now, though?
It took a while. It took a while for them to find some of those replacements. So now we got Rollins, AJ Green. I think that he deserves a little bit more minutes. You know, I think he really should be competing with Gary Trent, and you know, he should be right up there, which he is. You know, and I can give Doc credit for that, even though I just don't think that this team will ever get over that precipice with Doc Rivers as the coach.
Are you ready to admit that Adrian Griffin wasn't the problem?
Yes. I never thought he was a problem, but it seemed to me that the players had enough. They did not like the direction they were going to. They were used to Bud's routine of things, their patterns of winning, you know, with confidence. And all of a sudden that was just gone. I think that if they had kept Drew, Adrian Griffin would not be gone.
So yeah, I think you have to. I think what you saw happen, to your point, Drew covered a lot of holes, right?
Yeah.
And without him there, guys had to step up, play differently than they had been playing.
Yep.
They had to play a different style of defense. They had to move without the ball, all of those things. And they weren't going to change their style of play for him. They weren't going to change what they had been doing for years for him. That's what Doc's been doing this year with them, and I think that's why you've seen the slow progress. Yeah. You know, these guys are starting to figure it out. Like, if we want to win, we don't have a Drew Holiday that can make up for our lack of defense. Yeah. And so that's why these guys, like, I feel like if you watch Giannis, like, even was it the game last night, right, where he busted his finger at the triple double, or is that 2 nights ago, whatever?
2 nights ago, yeah.
You know, he realized offensively he wasn't going to be as effective, so he was figuring out different ways to affect the game. And I think that's a maturity that you haven't necessarily seen from Giannis in the past, you know. So I do think that what Doc is doing is helping.
Yeah,
the question becomes: do they have the skill and the talent to be able to compete with some of these other teams that are just incredibly talented?
If I tell you one of the Packers or the Bucks is going to win a title this year, which is more likely?
What? Which is more likely?
What is more likely?
Yeah, Bucks or Packers? Because I think it's the Bucks, even though I'm predicting the Packers beat the Eagles. But the Bucks have two of the best whatever players still. We just choke in the first round every year. And Giannis is gonna like concuss himself on the backboard or something else stupid this year. Like, it's gonna be something, but like theoretically,
they competed very well against OKC, and I think you could easily argue that OKC is one of the top 3 teams in the league, 4 teams in the league. They're young, right? Could they beat OKC in a 7-game series? I don't know about that, but I don't think the Packers have any chance whatsoever. So, by the slimmest of margins,
You
the
think it's the
Bucks are more
Bucks?
likely to win a championship.
Kendrick.
A championship. How about we make it a little bit easier? Who do you think will win their first playoff round? Who has a likelihood of winning
Both.
their first playoff game
Both.
round?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Why are
Bucks.
why are the Eagles better than the Packers?
I
Packers
think the
are
Packers have
terrible.
a better chance of winning their first round than the Bucks.
Based upon what? What are they better than them at?
60
I
minutes.
think that
At what?
game, the last game when they played Philly, what was that? Was that the first game of the year or?
Yeah.
Yep.
They played on an ice skating rink
In Brazil.
man.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's why it messes
Couldn't
with
punch
my
it in.
brain because I remember being slippery and I could not remember. Like they start in September. Why was it so cold? I could not figure that part out, and I forgot they went to Brazil. I think that Packers screwed themselves that game. I think they made a lot of unforced errors.
Went for it on 4th down. Couldn't punch it in the end zone in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They're terrible. How can you're a play action offense? You can't punch
They
it
held
in.
Barkley to a manageable amount. I mean,
That ain't happening again.
They did a decent job. I think that'll be a whole lot harder the second time around. Is their quarterback going to play?
Yeah, he practiced
Phillies?
today.
Oh,
I
he
don't
practiced. Okay.
Barkley will have like 170 yards, all-purpose yards this weekend. It's gonna be ridiculous.
I think the biggest problem.
Everybody's gonna be talking about Barkley on Monday.
Yeah,
Dude.
you're convincing me that I'm wishing on a star. I don't. It's probably not going to happen.
Guess who
if
got
Watson was playing and Jair was healthy, I would definitely say the Packers got a better shot of winning their first round. Because the Bucks, man, if they're playing or they got to play what? Who's right now in the top in the East?
I couldn't tell you.
Cleveland,
let's see here.
Cleveland, Boston,
NBA standings right now.
I like this better where we jump around. So I'm going to ask Crib this question while Kendrick looks at this. Or ask both of you. Go ahead, man.
They're never going to beat. Well, they could probably beat Orlando if they had to play them. They could probably beat Orlando
in 7.
I think they could beat Orlando. I don't think they can beat the Knicks. I don't think they can beat Boston. I don't think they can beat the Cavs.
What scares you about the Knicks?
And whatchamacallit gets in his bag, man, and now they got Cat too.
Brunson,
the midget,
Brunson. Yeah,
Brunson, man, he really can do a lot.
Brunson's talented. Brunson's super talented, tough cover for anybody on the Bucks.
And Cat's terrible. What is his last name? Oh, Carl Anthony Towns. Yeah,
I was like Cat Williams.
Cat Williams. Yeah.
Cat Williams.
No, I don't think his hair is as good.
I think they can be a tough team.
Cat.
Plus, what's their glue guy?
They got Bridges. They got Bridges over there.
No. They've been there together for a while. What's his boy?
Their center?
No, the light skin, other guard.
They don't have Dante anymore, right?
Kind of a scrub. No, but he'll make a basket when you just like, oh my goodness. Hart.
Oh yeah.
That dude he's a tough player, man.
Dad Kendrick, for you, everybody's light skinned. Josh Hart ain't light skinned.
No? I don't know.
Josh
looks like it on my TV. Maybe I got my brightness settings.
Time to get that OLED.
To use a phrase of this week, Josh Hart has that peanut butter,
black and white TV.
He's got that peanut butter skin. If you had, I don't care what team it is, even if it's Team X, pick a team. But since we're talking about the Bucks, if you had Giannis and Dame, and I said, hey, pick any player from history, kind of to support that, you wouldn't take any version. And I don't even mean Khris. You wouldn't take another scorer. You wouldn't take Glenn Robinson. You wouldn't take a Reggie Miller type. If I'm like, hey, you got a physical power forward and you have a gunner, needs a lot of shot, kind of Iverson type guy like Dame, you would say, give me, you would say, I was thinking Rodman, but you say, give me a Rodman, give me a Draymond. You would say all defense and young guys and guys you can play for 12 minutes. Like that's what you would do if you're going to construct a team. And you'd want like 2019 Brook Lopez maybe, but like you'd want. So the problem is not so much Khris, it's just we need Dame to take 28 shots, whether he's efficient or not. And we need Giannis to like be Giannis. And so like the way to construct that team is everything else is defense and effort and hustle and like free throw shooting. And at this point, like Khris can only like do one of those. But like also like Butler's only, even with Butler, like Butler's really only efficient when he's like on one. You know, like in the regular season, he sucks shooting. I mean, at least that's what I remember. I mean, he's
No, you're right.
He's certainly more of a winner than a lot of our guys, but it's like, you know.
I mean, aren't you seeing? I mean, it's going to be hard for Dame to be taking that many shots running the point.
Well,
I mean, when he had McCollum in Portland, was McCollum playing the 2? Was he playing the 1? Or did they just kind of mix that up?
I mean, they're both kind of non-point guards, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. He has to play point,
and he's not the best at it. You know,
right?
He's not the best. He's not the best ball handler either.
No.
He might be the best they have on the team, though.
I think Giannis is
for his position.
Period.
Yeah,
all right, look at your chat GTP and see who's had more turnovers, Giannis or Dame this season.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you.
Didn't they experiment with what's his name?
Minute, it's got to be Khris.
Coming up.
Every time I look, Khris has 4 turnovers in 22 minutes. But like again,
he's shaving points someplace. He's like, oh, what's the score? How can I kick this out of bounds?
Yeah,
I think the Packers thing is actually kind of similar to the Bucks thing, where I don't think I think Packers fans aren't used to us basically trying to be a version of like the Steelers or like those Titans, Tannehill teams. It's like like you said, it's a play action kind of team now, which means the receivers can't drop the third down passes and they can't make the stupid mistakes and they can't get the false starts and they can't botch the time management. But that's how this, the Roethlisberger kind of Steelers, those kind of Ravens-y kind of teams win. I don't know how I don't even mean like scheme-wise. I just don't know how well coached we are to put it all together. But theoretically, like back when we thought the receivers were good, we were basically as good. We were basically 40% as good as everybody. Or not 40%, but like 60-40. Like I know the Lions kind of clobbered us the one time. But like generally speaking, I think any of the teams, I think we played Chiefs close. I think we played the Bills close. I think we play everybody close. But I think we'd also lose because of little things. I mean, it's the same with the Bucks, right? Like if the Bucks didn't do stupid stuff.
Those Steeler teams, though, as much as you may have not liked Ben Roethlisberger, he made plays.
But you couldn't bring him down. You couldn't when it came right down to it. Early career, Roethlisberger took like 5 guys to sack him.
Right when they beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. Like, he made the plays, And if you're looking at this team, like, what's their identity? They don't have who's a stud on this team?
On the Packers?
Yeah. A stud.
That linebacker from Alabama we got in the second round.
Edgerrin Cooper?
Edgerrin Cooper? He's a rookie. He's a rookie.
He's a stud.
He's good. He's good.
Now you add another qualifier?
No. I mean, he's good, but he's not top tier.
Yeah,
Jacobs might be your best.
Jacobs is the answer.
That's it. He's the only guy that's top 3 in his position.
Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. But
we haven't had a player on the Packers with 8 interceptions since what's
Woodson, right? Yeah,
Woodson.
Yeah. Outside of playing center field, what else has he done?
So outside of those 3 people.
No, I'm just saying, like the Cooper kid is not a stud. He's a rookie who's having a great season. Let's see him next year.
Because he's a rookie, he's not a stud.
Yeah, because he hasn't played all season. He didn't start earlier in the season. You gotta do it all. You gotta do it all season long. Jacobs is 100% a stud. He's probably top 3 in his position in the NFC, top 5 in the NFL probably.
Okay.
And I like McKinney, don't get me wrong, but like one of the things about Charles Woodson, he might have had 8 had 8 interceptions, but how many sacks did he have? How many tackles for loss did he have? Like that guy was everywhere. I don't see that for him. They really
don't send McKinney. They don't play McKinney anywhere near
he plays
like they
center
do
field.
Him. They don't send him on blitzes.
Who do they send on blitzes? I'm confused. Linebackers.
Well, that's actually the difference between us and a Steelers Ravens team. It's just not Hall of Fame linebacker you. It's not like, hey, we've got 2 Hall of Fame linebackers and we keep reloading. I mean, that's also a big part of it, which Packers haven't had since Matthews.
They have no guts. That's the thing about the Packers. They have zero guts. Nothing. Like they one of the things I hate to say this, but like I love watching Detroit because they just are like, we're going to beat you. That's just it. We're just better than you, and we know it, and we're confident, and we're just going to beat you.
I can't wait for them to lose.
They're better than anybody.
They know they're better. They know they're better.
Okay, you think the Packers stink, right?
They're terrible.
Right. Lions don't think that. No team. When I started,
you just hear what they just did. You hear what he said to him, right? I'll see you in a couple of weeks. He's like the Packers on it. That's what he said when he played in Minnesota. He's like, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. They're not worried about the Packers.
That's just a statement. When we played the Lions went on every 4th down and played like you used to play.
And that's why they won.
That's why they won.
They lose, right? So they don't think they're better than the Packers. You don't do that against.
Yes,
you don't do that against Miami Dolphins.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That's what Detroit's done.
They went on every 4th down, Chris.
Yes, that's what they do. That is their MO.
No, it's not. It's not what they do. It's not what they do.
Who?
Detroit.
That is exactly what Detroit does.
Lions do not go on every 4th down.
Not
just
everyone, but the highest percentage
they
have the highest percentage of going on 4th down. Yes, that is who they are.
The same. Close to is not equivalent. If you go on every 4th down, you're showing your hand. You think you need to do everything in that game to beat us.
Right.
No, they're just saying we can and we will.
They have confidence that they'll get these yards. They got it. They're not scared of not getting those yards.
Right.
They're going to get them.
That's different than thinking, I need this to win. And they did need that to beat the Packers, which shows that they think the Packers can beat them.
No, they're not. They're not afraid of the Packers.
I agree.
At all.
I agree.
They want nothing. They don't care.
Those are 2 different statements, though, Crib. Being afraid of them and knowing they can compete and beat you are different.
They're not afraid of the Packers.
Losing to my son in basketball, however, I know it can happen. You hear him scream from the other room.
They're not afraid. They're not afraid of nobody.
No, not at all.
Nobody. Detroit's not afraid of nobody.
They're going to win it.
Detroit is afraid of the ghost of 40 years, let alone any team in this league. They're terrified of it all.
Minnesota is that.
Their butts are so clenched right now.
Boy, them boys,
they got the normal swagger.
The entire squad wasn't even born to recognize how they were. They don't terrible.
They don't know any better. Round again.
No.
Yep.
No.
I would laugh so hard, but I don't think so.
That's a Super Bowl team right there.
I don't know why the Packers can't be in the Super Bowl. I really don't.
They're afraid. They play scared. They play scared.
Jordan Love is. So Jordan Love is the reverse of Aaron Rodgers, right? And in the best way possible. You would watch Aaron Rodgers. You would be up in the first half, and you would be sick to your stomach, like, how are we going to lose it this time? Jordan Love plays his best ball from behind. You always think you have a chance to win. You never thought you had a chance to win with Aaron Rodgers. You knew we were going to screw it up. Mm-hmm. Jordan Love is the best thing for us. We will always have a puncher's chance in the playoffs.
He's got
always have, and that's
the coach has to let him throw the ball. Like he's got to run the coach has to run a play where he's throwing the ball. Like he doesn't trust him.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't trust him.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. You can see it in the play calling that he sends out there. He doesn't trust them, and he holds them back, and he doesn't try to open it up until they absolutely has to, and he thrives.
Right.
And then he pulls it back again.
So far behind, he has no choice. Yeah, I agree.
They wait till the second half to trust them a little bit more because they're down, or if they don't come out and score in their first drive or two, they're going to lose. They won't be able to figure it out.
But everybody's better with a lead, though. I mean, that's fair. I think.
Actually, yeah, Detroit.
Not McCarthy.
You watch golf.
Well, true.
And how terrible golf is when they're not ahead.
Dude,
they look so good when they're good because they're up by 30 because he never gets scared. The second they're down by 3, man, golf looks like a different quarterback.
Well,
and same with the Minnesota quarterback. Both of guys get terrified from being behind.
Did you watch the game of the last game
on Sunday? Yeah,
Detroit
versus
was Minnesota.
Down. Yeah,
Detroit was down big time, and they wound up winning by almost 30 points, didn't they?
Yeah, not 30 points. I mean, they blew them out. The third middle of the third till the end of the game. It was a joke.
Yeah, it was hyperbole.
Halftime, it was close.
It was just
they
crazy.
went and made adjustments. They got to. They have a Campbell's crazy.
Look,
like he's just punch you in the mouth, kind of crazy. He doesn't care.
Here's what I'll say.
We thought they were.
I can't wait for Campbell to lose in the playoffs. It's going to be so sweet. It's going to be the second sweetest thing to the entire Jet season, which has been so sweet.
Great.
The Jet season has been so sweet.
Every game. You're man, they're going to win it.
I was just about to ask. Please snippet this and just fast forward to the footage of Campbell apologizing for him being the reason they lost this season.
It's going to be so great.
It'll be the next podcast.
He becomes more dangerous now.
It's so great.
Oh, man, every debacle.
Every press conference.
Every time. And he blamed everybody and their mama
blamed
the first
he blamed
10 games of the year.
Everyone else. His body language was terrible. He blamed everyone for his shortcomings. He'd start out playing well, and then it completely just blow up. It was just chef's kiss. Like I've watched
every time he skipped one.
Great. It's great. It's just
skip one to somebody yes.
Father time comes for everyone.
Yeah,
blaming them, acting like they ran a wrong route.
Right? Yeah, it's always something.
It was just so glorious.
Getting everyone traded. Like every week he was either getting traded, threatening to get a receiver, getting Devontae, doing that.
Demanding Devontae. Who was the other guy? Alan Lazard.
Lizard.
Like, come on, man.
I thought he was going to get Jake Kumaro back or whatever.
Touchdown, Jesus.
I was like, who else is he going to get from back in the day?
I was super surprised Bakhtiari didn't show up there.
Bakhtiari kind of, I don't know if he was joking, but he kind of made some negative tweets, or at least innuendo, kind of negative route. But like, oh man, what a shame. Couldn't have happened to a better person,
Dude. The Rodgers?
When he broke, I think, either a sack record. Yeah, I think he broke most number of sacks, and Bakhtiari said something kind of smart mouth about it.
Nothing is more perfect than Favre having the interception record, and Favre had more interceptions than anybody in NFL history, and Rodgers has sacked more than anybody in NFL history. That is perfect. And if you want to talk about love, like he's not going to be as good as either of those guys long term. But what I will say, decision making wise, just from his head, I don't think he's all that accurate. But I think I think he's pretty good. He knows when to risk. He's like, I'm going to risk 2 or 3 plays a game.
Yeah.
He makes pretty good passes on 4th and 6 that receivers drop. Like he makes a lot of plays, even like where he got hurt last week. That was like a Favre-esque, Rodgers-esque escape. Like he's pretty good at everything, but I just feel like the head on his shoulders, like he takes the appropriate amount of risks for me. And I don't think he's scared to turn the ball over, but I don't.
He's
think
somewhere in between Favre and Rodgers.
He's not all that accurate. He's not all that durable. Like nobody in NFL, nobody in history has been as durable as Favre. So he's never going to be like that. But yeah, it's. I mean, I root for him. Like apparently I'm going to watch the game Radio Dark because apparently I've been booked by my wife to have a gathering at 4:00 on Sunday. So I'm literally just going to turn my phone off. But yeah, like I'll watch that game at midnight or something. But yeah.
Easily like 34-17 Sunday.
I'm just gonna play by ear. I don't know. I hope they win. I really do.
All right, somebody get me up to speed because I've been out of the loop on this.
We haven't talked much.
Our corners are still out because that's really what I'm picking on. Are all our corners back or not?
No, Jair's done for the year.
Evan Williams
done for the year.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm with you.
That's tough.
That's it. Never mind.
Well, forget all that.
One season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually think the guy that matters most on that defense is Evan Williams. And if Clay Walker isn't playing, those are the positions that hurt them the most when it comes to them being effective defensively. Evan Williams plays, safety for them. What? Is he the weak side safety then? Because you have free safety and McKenzie or whatever. Like, as much as you can keep Stokes off the field, the more successful you're going to be.
Yeah.
And Evan Williams keeps him off the field.
The Eagles are still the Eagles, though.
Yeah.
Once again, and that's the thing. Like, I actually think if straight up, who's going to win this? We can predict that every 4th down and 1, they're going for it, and we won't stop them, right? Which is a very valuable weapon. They're going to keep drives alive. However, the Eagles are like one slight tweak of a knee from any of their wide receivers or their running back from us just winning by a lot as well. So my money would be on the Eagles, but they are not. Don't believe the hype on the Eagles.
Barkley 172 touchdowns, over under 170 total yards.
You got to get
total
over
yards
170 yards and over 2 touchdowns.
Running, and receiving total yards 170 and 2 touchdowns.
So he needs 171 and 3 touchdowns under.
To do what?
But I had to think about it. So I mean, I guess what's the point? That's enough to win.
I said 170 total yards gained and 2 touchdowns. You taking the over or the under?
Oh wow.
Prediction,
over under.
37 degrees in Philly, high of 37, low of 25, no precipitation is the forecast for Philadelphia.
That's straight up. That's a non-factor. That's just football weather. All right,
Maybe
back
the
to
Packers
the
will
Bucs.
play some football.
Back to your haterade.
I think Jay still certainly watched more games than me. I watched 8 games.
Who has the most turnovers on the Bucs between these 3 players?
This season? Are you talking this season?
This season.
Total turnovers, not per minute.
Total average turnovers per game between Giannis,
Now it's average.
Dame, and Khris. Average turnovers per game.
I would guess it's Dame, then Giannis,
Dame,
and Khris.
Middleton. Yeah, because it's just by who plays the most minutes per game. It's a math problem.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Smarty pants.
Was Giannis the most or was Dame the most?
Can you do turnovers per minute played?
No. I don't. Yeah, I can. I guess.
Khris leads the league in sweaty 360, lose the ball under 1 minute kind of turnovers.
Giannis had averaged 3.5 per game. Dame 2.8. Khris 2.3. Assist to turnover ratio
2.3 for Khris.
Yeah, assist to turnover ratio.
Ooh, that's going to be. I'd say Dame's at the
so
bottom.
the lower is worse. Higher is better.
Yeah,
lower is
got
worse. Right. Giannis,
Giannis,
Dame,
Khris.
Khris.
Giannis,
Dame,
I would
Khris,
say Dame is worse.
Yeah.
Dame is worse than it's per game.
Yep, this season.
Ooh, that's tough.
Giannis, Dame,
Assist to turnover. Who has the better from top to bottom? Best to worst.
I would guess
Giannis, Dame, Khris.
I would guess that your median Giannis game has a higher baseline of assists, but some games Dame will have like 9 assists. But I would guess on average Giannis always has 4 to 8.
Giannis has had more triple doubles, though.
But he also probably has 7 turnovers in that triple double.
Right.
Right. Like, man. And it also matters what the Bucs are hitting. Okay, everything taken in. Middleton's average is probably going to be the best because he's only played the games when we weren't absolutely god awful in the beginning of the season, right? So let me go Middleton, Giannis, Dame.
Okay, you're all wrong. It is
Dame,
Khris, and then Giannis. That was the best to worst.
Like I know Dame's defense is awful, but like you were comparing him before to Harden and Luka. I think he's the smallest of all of those guys.
For sure.
He's so like when you're 6'1", like what is he, 6'1", really?
I think he's a little bit taller.
You think he's pretty quick.
I think he's a little taller than that.
I'm just telling you guys, just watch how many olays this dude does per game, man.
I get
that's
that, but
all
like,
I'm saying.
But Middleton's 6'8".
Watch how he fights over or under screens. Like that's what I'm referring to as effort. I know everybody's age catches up to him. He was primarily a scorer for most of his career, so he, energy really didn't go in that certain area. You had to save it for the offensive side. I get all that. I'm just saying that it's hard to have him out there without, because Khris. You can't have those 2 guys out there. You're going to just get decimated. And
that's why Doc said he's got to come off the bench.
Yeah, I think that's just a smart move because both of them are, they're just missing, one person probably knows how to do it and tries harder, had to, but his body's failed him. The other person really never really had to try, and he fakes it real good.
No,
sometimes
he's trying.
He'll swipe, but he ain't gonna stand in there and really.
He's playing the best defense he's ever played in the league right now.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched him for 13, 14 years, but maybe.
And that's a testament to Doc. Like if he's playing, if you're getting that guy to play defense,
it's either a testament to Doc last season, in the fourth quarter. He got a little bit pissy about that.
He did.
I think that was smart.
And that's smart. You play to the guy's ego. You get him motivated. It's either Dame wants it that bad that he's figured out how to play defense, or Doc has motivated him to play defense.
I think that the whole rest of the team is. You don't want those eyes looking back at you when you got Ajax out there busting his butt. You got AJ Green busting his butt, real light complected AJ Green busting his butt, and Giannis busting his butt. And you can't have those guys looking at you when you're supposed to be one of the leaders of the team. And
and that's what Giannis said the other day too, right?
He sure did. And the next game, Khris is coming off the bench because those guys were in their fourth quarter when it was crunch time, and it was a lot of defensive lapses.
Dude, but here's the thing, and here's always going to be the thing. None of this matters if Khris finishes the game. And what just about every coach in NBA history
I think it depends on who's on the floor with Khris.
It should, because
you can't have him out there with another guy, just like you can't have Dame out there with another guy who's struggling defensively.
So that's a serious problem. But every other coach, it's like, hey, microwave, you're
finishing
the game. Hey, Jamal Crawford, you're shooting great, you're finishing the game. You're not. All those guys, it's like okay, if you're hot, you're playing, and if you're not, we're doing defense. But there is no world where we can have Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez and Khris Middleton and Damian Lillard playing defense. You have to keep Lillard, and so what's left, right? And again, Portis finally just broke my heart with all his just dumb nonsense. But none of them can play defense, and Brook Lopez is feet are in cement. And
who's your closing five?
Well, somebody else who's watching games.
So when you say closing five, we are down, we're up.
Game 7. Game 7, you got to win it. Not the chip. You got to win first round of playoffs. Game 7 against Orlando.
Against Orlando, Brook Lopez.
It's a tight game.
We're down.
8-point game.
We're down.
On Isaac.
8-point game.
8 point. We're down.
Sure. 8-point game.
How many offensive rebounds have we already given up this game? Because literally, you have to look at that. Brook needs to be on the floor. No one else can rebound except for Giannis. And sometimes Giannis is tired or doesn't want to get his hands active. And you're just screwed because it doesn't matter whether your defense is good or not. They're going to get as many shots as it takes to finally make one on an offensive possession.
You're down by 8, 5 minutes to go. Who's your closing five?
Dame, Ajax, Giannis for sure. AJ Green, yep. So now I'm just sliding. It's either Lopez or Portis probably because you're going to need some size. But if they're running a guard heavy thing, it might rotate to another guard who can move laterally. But otherwise, it's no question. You need the scrappers. You need the ones who aren't going to get that second chance. So AJ and Ajax.
That's
AJ,
what I like about Gary Trent.
Stay on there. Well, stay out.
I mean, the sample size of the game I saw where Trent hit 2 threes in the last 2 minutes, whatever game that was. So I did get to see. Right. I did get to see that one game where Giannis hit all the mid ranges, and I was like, "This is what I want." And then they lost to the Nets, and the Bulls are after that, or whoever. Seems like every night they play the Nets or the Bulls, but
Giannis's mid range looks legit. You expect to have one on and one off, one on and one off. Every time it goes up, I'm like, nah, and then it goes, and it's been that way for 7 straight games. He looks, and on the leaner back too. It's a shame our defense and our rebound. I wish we just had some big joker who was going to scrap and get rebounds.
Did you guys
with that?
Aren't you happy that we wasted 8 years with him taking 3-pointers because it was modern basketball? Modern basketball is modern basketball. 3 is greater than 2s, and all they had to do was get used to taking 16-footers.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did you see the 3 he hit the other day? It didn't count. It was right at halftime. It was a quick. He just had a jacket. No, he just. It was it was right before halftime. Man, I want to maybe say it was the Bulls game, and he didn't think about it. Dame threw it to him, and he just had to kind of chuck it up, and it looks and he nothing but nylon, man. I mean, it was wow, that actually looked like a normal jump shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he
I
just
like
thinks
it.
too
I
hard.
like it. I
thinks
hope
too
he
much.
just keeps shooting it. Shoot it
Yeah.
all season long.
Yeah. That
And
mid
this
range is good.
Do it right. You gotta get comfortable within the regular season. All his threes were always forced. This mid range is like when you're stepping into it and they're playing off you by 5 feet, go ahead, take it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's knocking it down, stepping into it. So I hope by the playoffs he still relies on enough where he doesn't go to the I have to get 1 foot from the hoop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on the right track for that. But to answer your question, it's still situational in that 5th position. I know who I went out there at the end of the game. Somebody who can shoot a 3 is going to scrap for the rebounds. I don't want anybody who's going to think their job is to score, but not to play defense and go scrap and get the loose ball in case.
So it's not TP.
It's
definitely not Middleton.
I would interchange Torian Prince with any one of those other 2 guys. AJ Green or Ajax.
You would put TP in over those
I would
guys?
say I would interchange those 3 because I think that he gives you length and he hustles pretty decently on defense and he does get a few more rebounds than the rest of those 2. Ajax gets more rebounds probably. Ajax really fights hard for rebounds. I wish Lopez would just grab the rebounds instead of always trying to tip it to somebody.
Yes.
Just grab the ball, 7-foot monster.
Just grab the ball.
Just grab the ball. Man, that's so annoying.
And it speaks to me to kind of this whole thing of and I agree. Sometimes he boxes out. He's a legendary boxer.
He does box out.
Going back to the Nets. But it goes back to the Bud gimmick of hey, your job, don't do your job. Somebody else is going to do your job so you can do this or you can do that so you can play random. And it's no, just everybody get the rebound. Go get the rebound, Brook Lopez. And by the way, Brook Lopez, I've said this every 10th pod. If you knock somebody down once a game, I've never teams shoot 90% on crazy left-handed Euro step floaters on him. And one time he just needs to put his arms up and just run right through the guy
and cuss that guy. While that guy's leaning in. Yes. Knock the wind out of him one time.
It's just a dabble of Draymond Green in his blood.
Yeah, just throw your hand.
Draymond Green grab a
dropper, just a.
You know how like you say tackle through the runner, just move right through the forward and knock that guy down.
Bobby Porter some just a little bit, I mean, you can tell when Bobby's feeling it. And
you're supposed to get dirtier with age.
He's gonna get a penalty pretty soon.
So Jay, really the only thing you missed was we did a little bit a Butler talk, and everything else has just kind of been we've been just kind of talking about the Bucks and Packers and kind of just bouncing around. But
Giannis is at about 48% for mid range this season.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
What we have to give up for Butler, the actual trade scenarios that will make it work. Just curious.
Just the one ESPN ran. I think it was Connington, Bobby, and Middleton.
They needed to get a third team involved because the Bucks cannot aggregate players.
Right. They only can trade one guy and take no money.
Because literally the only thing I think we're really losing
the only way they can aggregate is if they drop down below the second apron.
Right.
So they would have to, if they aggregate, they got to shed $6 million in salary.
How much does the other Antetokounmpos that are on the staff make? Can we promise to pay them
nobody else is on the staff
from now, all them other shady contracts?
He was not signed this season at all. I was kind of surprised.
Oh,
they make that trade though. They probably have a spot.
Hey, I'm all for it. In the end, I'm all. If you could give up Connington, Middleton, and Portis, I guess I'd take that for Butler, because when it comes down to it, Butler probably doesn't even care about playing in the regular season. You want them to get a little bit of chemistry, but in the end, you just need a dog who's going to go out there and say, "Hey, I don't want to lose tonight." Dames is on some. I'm going to make a precision shot and be clutch, but Butler comes out there with the right mental attitude at the beginning of the game, I'm going to show you what's up, and we don't always have that. So, and he doesn't necessarily feel like he needs to be ball dominant to do that either. He scraps and gets loose balls too. So I'm fine with that. The only thing is you do risk the chemistry we have gained, but that's the same thing we keep doing every time we throw Middleton back in the lineup, every time he's not hurting again. So
right.
I'll take it. You're still got the same problem again, but with a player that hasn't been proven not to work.
Honestly, you could never do this for two reasons.
What are you talking about? Did you win the championship in 2021?
Proven not him coming off the bench.
Did you win the championship in 2021?
Why do you always
this guy who was proven
like,
not to work?
Right.
Isn't proven to work winning the championship? And that dude was a huge integral part of that.
You misunderstand what I'm saying.
Maybe
Khris Middleton coming back once every 3 weeks for 2 games and then wanting to start in the playoffs does not work.
That's what you're saying doesn't work.
Yes, you can't act like the chemistry's going to be there. Like the whole point of the regular season, especially with these players that are going to take games and off, is like to try out my offense, see what defense work, get comfortable with everybody, know what actually flows. But you can't just roll the dice with Middleton mid-playoffs. It's not going to work.
Right.
Just like they had to work in Ajax, AJ Green, all these other new guys, don't they still have to give him minutes to get him some chemistry with this team?
Who, Khris, or who are we talking
paying
about?
him, and he's on the roster, and he does provide
second team minutes. He needs to figure out how to run with.
Right, I'm good with that, but acting like he doesn't, he's not worth giving minutes with the starters to get a feel with them.
But honestly,
that doesn't.
Whose minutes do you want him to take from?
We're talking about Khris.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he's got to get 20 minutes a game. Whose minutes is he taking?
Why does he need to get 20 minutes a game?
I'm playing to Ken's point. You're paying him. He's important enough. He's whatever. If you believe he's an important part of the team and he needs to get minutes, how many minutes does he let's say he's got to get 20 minutes. Who are you taking his minutes from?
He scores more than Ajax, more than AJ Green, more than Taurean Prince, and more than Gary Trent Jr. When he's on the court, when he's on his game, he scores more.
Lillard scores more than all those guys.
So I'm not saying take Lillard. Are you asking me whose minutes should Middleton take from? Yeah. I'm saying all of those guys.
So you want to lose AJ Green's defense or Ajax defense so you can have Middleton?
I'm not playing him the whole entire game. You said who are they? He's already playing only about 8 minutes a game.
The problem, you can't finish, which is why Portis never finishes the game. You can't finish. Like, it's Lillard and Giannis
does
at the end.
Finish some games.
Right. So, like, honestly, in a perfect world where there are no egos, like, you would sit Lillard with the stinker games and let Middleton finish. But you can't. There's no point of having both of them out there because Lillard is going to defer or they're going to take the ball out of his hands.
The point is we don't have someone that is a clear and dominant 2-3 best player on his team. We got Giannis and Dame, and everybody else falls kind of into that second bucket.
You got
what you do need is reliability, right? And you don't know what you're going to get from Khris. You don't know whether he's going to scrap for balls or can't. Like, once again, this ain't going to be
all right. I mean, okay. Last year when Dame and Middleton or Giannis were both out, who almost won us that and got us past the first round of the playoffs?
Horseshoes and hand grenades. I'm sorry. Did we
go
I'm
7? About horseshoes and hand grenades.
I'm sorry. Did we go 7 against the Pacers? I'm sorry. Did we go 7 against the Indiana Pacers?
25 points. Who has been one of our best and most solid players in the playoffs for the last 4 years?
Not Khris Middleton.
Last 3 years. Oh, are you kidding me? Look at the minutes and look at the points per game. Khris Middleton has been the most consistent playoff scorer.
Losses.
You know, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose.
And the team that puts the ball in Khris Middleton's hands will lose.
You know, I'm going to say this. I'll say this. Everybody stays healthy. Everybody stays healthy. Dame's going to have a big playoffs this year. The last half of the season, he's going to have a big season.
We had home court advantage against the Indiana Pacers, and they beat us in 6 games. And game one,
who else was playing?
And game one was the Lillard game.
Lillard's cap
so game one,
so
Lillard
he was in and out. Giannis was gone.
Yeah.
So the player that you guys think sucks so bad, you're saying, dang it, he lost us.
No one's saying Khris sucks so bad. This is what I'm saying. You can't win with Khris.
You can't win.
No one says James Harden sucks. They say you can't win with James Harden.
You won a championship title. You won plenty of playoff rounds.
That guy has been dead for years. That guy has been dead since that. Go back and watch him with the trophy. It's the part
almost won it
where he's
by himself last year.
And never returned.
Who almost won it by himself last year?
Not last year,
dude.
Look at the games. Go back and look at the games versus Indiana
I know good and well. Everybody
knows
good and well.
Watch the games and see who was our best assists, who was our best scorer during the playoffs with
and the
Indiana.
Bucks were not competitive.
You know good and well if the Packers lose 40-3 to the Eagles, you're not going to say Jordan Love had 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and 3 picks, and you'd be like, "What a game!" Like it's the exact same thing, dude. It's like the winners win, the losers go home. Khris Middleton fans love nothing more than playoff losses where the game goes into overtime and he ends up with 36 or 38.
I'm not talking about playoff losses. I'm talking about the strength of the player. You're going to attribute all of the loss on one player.
You're living in the past.
You're attributing the entire loss.
No,
on
I'm not
one
saying
player.
That. The thing about the old days.
I'm saying you can't win with him.
And you're saying he lost
days.
You're saying he's the worst player on here and that he lost.
2025.
You can't win with him.
2025.
When he was missing their top 2 players, and it was all his fault. You lost it because of him.
No one said it was all his. No one's saying it's all his fault. I'm saying you can't win with him.
You can't win with him. That's a backhanded way of saying it was his fault. You lost.
I believe in defense. I believe in defense in the playoffs, man.
Okay, but he lost because you were missing Giannis and Dame, right?
The Bucks lost because they were missing Giannis and Dame.
What I'm saying though is look at the games and see who was our best player. Who was the best player on that losing game?
Absolutely. Someone's got to shoot the ball.
The biggest loser.
Someone's got to shoot the ball.
He had the most assists and most points during that time.
Someone has to shoot the ball without those guys in the game.
So how much do you love this Disney Plus Kids of Skeleton Crew?
Hey, you know what?
What a transition! What a transition!
It's you know what? It's kind of like when Middleton doesn't turn the ball over and he scores 15 points. Like, that really wasn't that bad. It's kind of like a
pretty
pleasant
much.
surprise.
I mean, I don't really watch. I hope that they win. Did they win?
Who?
In this 15 points? I'm trying to compare the Skeleton Crew to this 15 points.
I don't know yet. You know, the season isn't over yet. You know, the season.
They got to bring it home for you,
right? They got to land the ship, so they got to win a series.
It's cute. Cute. It's real cute.
I love Goonies and I loved E.T. growing up. Like those are fun movies to me. So it gives me some of those kind of vibes and feels. So you
guys watched it?
No.
I didn't watch Whatever Happened. Well, okay, I put on Whatever Happened yesterday and I fell right asleep. Not necessarily the show that was on me. I was just boring. Tired. Should have had no business turning it on. However, for what it is, which is something like built for younger kids, but also has enough adult-esque moment. It is classic, like old school stuff. Like Goonies, they put that fat kid's head in the blender. Weren't afraid
crazy stuff in Goonies.
Kids. And that's basically what this is. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm sure I'll see something in one. Well, it all hinges on one. Like Crib said, they could do something dumb these last 2 episodes and just undercut it. But it's on the right track of being a good show.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
Yep. Yeah, even in my brain, that character, I was like, I've seen this before. And then you sent that, I'm like, yep, that's what it was. And the whole time with that thing, I was like, oh, it was like some knockoff Power Ranger. Yeah, you're right.
I was like, dude, I think it was from the last episode too, because he like got real close and he was talking and I could see his fangs and stuff. Like they weren't lined up. I'm like, he's speaking Japanese right now, just like Goldar did.
His mouth moves like it's
Power Rangers.
Like as a person inside, just very delicately moving like a needle nose pliers. Like it has no mobility.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Get down.
Anyways, quick AJ Green take. Yo, man, he's starting to feel himself in a good way. He's taken several shots. Ben, I know you ain't really watching. He's been taking it like late in the shot clock, 6 seconds left, and it's like you be forced to get past and no one get a good look. Oh, he'll drive and drop his shoulder and pull up. Like he's actually showing some. I could be a number 4 starter, like actually be relied on to score, and not just open 3 kind of ways, which is very exciting because I didn't think he had it. There were several. Whenever you scream at the TV, like, "Oh," he's had several moments where it wasn't just an open 3. It was, "Hey, this defender ain't better than me, and I can prove it right now." Kind of moments. If he can keep doing,
if we go back to that in-season tournament, he knocked down 2 of those in Hartenstein's face.
Yep.
That's a 7-footer coming running at you, closing out. His release is so high. I got
Who
high
was
hopes
the
for
other
him, man.
white guy the Bucks had that they traded or let go? I think he's with Cleveland now.
Dante?
White or mixed?
No, he was just a straight
he's like
white
from
kid.
Utah or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam Merrill.
Sam Merrill, I know because Adam McGee said he was a better athlete than Sam Merrill, joking, and I just never and then Sam Merrill seems like he's going to be like a 8-year pro. I had to delete all my Adrian Griffin files, because I have just like a gig of Adrian Griffin press conferences and stuff that I'm sure is deleted. But so we're back up and running.
I will fund you getting a hard drive, man, at like $80.
I got a new one actually.
Okay.
I got a new one. Well, I got a new external, but that's a whole other story. Where were we? So everybody, as soon as I started trying to fix everybody, I heard like a million takes.
And so they came fast and furious.
There was like a Star Wars take, and then there was something else. So I don't know who wants to go. I'm basically
Fred was saying he appreciated that they did do a live action instead of animated.
We were talking about Andor. So I was saying, I know.
I said that I did like Andor my second watch, and I really, really did like it a lot. It was
Can't wait.
Yeah,
that's coming out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, a couple months. I will say this though, the thing that I'm starting to feel like with some of these shows, like you're talking about, like some of them being boring. This whole 8-series streaming platform, I'm kind of done with that. Just give me 2.5-hour movie. Tell me a story. I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to have to invest 2 months to get a story.
I understand where you're coming from, and I wouldn't mind having that. However, to me, the reason why Andor season 1 works is because it's not one giant thing. It is actually 3 things. If you go back and watch it, all of them have like a 3-arc structure between every 3 episodes. So you get like the highs, lows, and then like some kind of fulfillment after 3 episodes. All the rest of these shows are written like I wrote a movie, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 40% of the movie in the first 7 episodes and then try to wrap it up way too fast on the last 2 because budget cuts or whatever they're doing towards the back.
There's just too many filler shows.
That's not how you write stories.
I don't need. Okay, so if you say it's a 45-minute show times 8 shows, that's how. What is that? What does that come out to? 5 hours, something like that.
Yep.
And really, there's probably 2 hours of filler. So just give me a 3-hour movie.
Well, I mean, I just also think too that before we called it CG, where we just called it special effects, it was like the special effects for a Lucas or a Spielberg or a Zemeckis movie was part of the thing. And you take any sort of technological, I've never seen that before, out of Star Wars. It's like the 8th best thing about Star Wars, but it's just a TV show. But it's actually been no shade to Skeleton Crew. I just didn't feel like watching it. And it didn't seem like my family has just graduated past caring at all whether I'm in the room. They'll just be like, we watched this without you, and I'm like, oh great, thanks. I think I could have watched that, and it's like, no, we watched it without you. Like the other day, they're watching the Moby Dick movie with Thor, and it's basically like in the heart of the ocean or something like that, and I'm like, this looks pretty good. What's this? And it's like, well, we're 45 minutes in. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
I mean, it's straight. It's it was straight, but it's just
what streaming service is that on?
Is that it?
Maybe Netflix. It's either Netflix or Amazon.
Okay,
but
it's not even. I thought it was a new movie. It's an old movie, 2015, In the Heart of the Sea.
Yeah, it's basically just a guy tells the story of Moby Dick to another guy who writes Moby Dick.
It's the real life story of Moby Dick. That's what Moby Dick.
Howard directed.
Yeah, it's really good.
It features Thor, Spider-Man, and
Thor, Spider-Man,
and Oppenheimer, who was Scarecrow.
Okay.
And who was the? Yeah. There's another guy. Yeah, it's good.
That's straight. Sorry. So we can double right back to this, but I did solicit questions on Twitter on Sunday when I was going to do this by myself. So let me just read them all in a row. Some of them we kind of answered, but I did kind of disrespectful not to read them. So Wander at Wander Around 1 just says Khris Middleton, your thoughts? Smiley face. I think we've probably kind of covered that. Honestly, like my answer at least is I think he can rock second quarters and third quarters, and that'd be kind of great. And then if he's super hot, he should like honestly, how appropriate would it be if they go offense defense at the end of games and they like bring Trent or Ajax or whoever in, and then bring Khris back in for the play where we might need him to shoot free throws, and then like I think that'd be perfectly appropriate to like run guys in and out depending on situations. Brennan Olin asks 3 questions. Whose playoff? We kind of answered these, huh? Whose playoff chances do you like more, the Bucks or the Packers? I think.
So
what did we say? What did we say?
Whose playoff chances do you like more, Bucks or Packers?
Crib,
Bucks.
Jay.
He's staring at the ceiling, thinking about it.
Man, that's very close. Packers, it's a 1-game win thing more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. You think they got a better shot?
Just based on the nature of the 7 games versus 1 games, I think
to win a chip. To win a chip.
To win a chip. I think because it's not about how far you go; it's about who can win. And I think the Packers, in theory, could rip off 4 wins with a couple of injuries on some teams. So
I think the question is just this playoff game, this playoff series, this one.
I think it's open for interpretation, actually.
Oh, okay. So you're saying winning it? No, I can't give it to the Packers.
In response, user Salvador1973 says the Bucks because of Giannis, both Doc Rivers and Matt LaFleur in the playoffs. Buckle up, folks. ... Brennan Olin also asks, bigger problem, Packers pass rush or lack of the number 1 wide receiver? Yes, the answer is yes.
Pass rush always. Pass rush always.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of weapons on offense. They don't always come through, but
we got Jacobs. If they can't stop him, we can win the game.
You missed this too, Jay. Like, were you in the conversation for who's a stud on the Packers?
That was Crib's question. Then you had a bunch of qualifiers after you answered them.
Yeah, I was here for that.
Oh yeah.
And then you were like, but they weren't born in January.
Right.
He didn't play hockey on a blue team.
But he wears a size 9. No, he don't count. You got to wear a 12 or higher shoe.
We're talking about right-handed people, not left-handed people.
Right.
They have one stud on their whole team, and it's Josh Jacobs. That's the only stud they have.
I disagree, but
how many Pro Bowlers did they get? Anyway,
they got somebody who made it. That Gary made it, and everybody was like, "What?" Cooper should have got it over Gary, but whatever. Pro Bowl, all these Pro Bowl, all this All-Star stuff. I just don't give them a lot of credit because it's just what did they think
LaFleur or Doc?
LaFleur or Doc?
Who do you trust more?
Man. LaFleur just will not go for the jugular, man. He'll let his foot off the gas and then he'll be scrambling. I mean, it just belies common sense what he did the last 2 games, man. I don't believe in all this Vegas stuff, not for everything. I know I say it a lot, but I don't understand with this. What is he, 6-7 year head coach? 8 year?
Yeah, I don't know.
I do not understand that last 2 minutes of the last game. So everybody makes mistakes. You got a whole squad, a whole coaching squad, supposed to help you out. I don't understand that one. I would have Doc hasn't done anything
since 2019 for LaFleur.
You have to go with who you think is the cause of the problem, in my opinion, which means Doc is better because in basketball, I always believe the players have the ability to win regardless of the coach if they're good enough. Thus, I
agree.
LaFleur's worse because you don't stop players from being great. Period. They don't get. You can't scare or shake a great player in basketball. In football, he
throttles Love until he gets scared they're going to lose the game, and then he lets them loose, and then he does the exact same thing next game. So
actually, the Bucks have gotten the players individually have improved.
I agree.
Under Doc.
I mean, and Doc, give him credit. he had a reputation of not playing rookies. I mean, he came in and he gave those guys minutes early. And he benched DeLon Wright. Should have. He
should have come off to Jackson Jr. That's not his fault, because that was more of a coaching swap thing. Jackson Jr. was on the rise before he left, and then he went to more reliable veterans, and then he had to come back to Jackson Jr. later. But I don't blame him for that. He figured it out, right? I blame people who refuse to learn from their first assumption about somebody, and that's not Doc. Green's getting a ton. Green wasn't getting that many minutes. Doc is mainly responsible for getting Green minutes. So big ups to Doc on.
And he's playing Rollins now.
He's adjusted. He's done well. He's adjusted. By the way.
But you can make
Rollins. I think they picked up his salary for the rest of the year.
And to be fair, the reason it's a cliche is because it's basically true. You could make a pretty credible case, or at least I can, that if AJ Green makes his shots against the Pacers, we beat the Pacers. And that was kind of the thing. It was like, all his 50-50 shots, he tricked. And it was like, oh, wait, we don't have this guy who I think is never going to miss. So, all of a sudden it was like completely different. But if you had to, if it was like, oh, the Bucks will be against the Nuggets or OKC in the finals, or Packers Bills or something like that, I guess I would say Packers Bills is more likely to me. But like that's what's so frustrating about talking about the Bucks. The Bucks should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals every year since 2018. And it's like something's going to go wrong. Like we just all know something's going to go wrong. So yeah. Final question. I think I'm scrolling through this again from Brenna Olin. If it took Dame an entire season to get in shape because he was sad, how long does it take Khris Middleton to get in shape after double ankle surgery? He'll never be in shape again, though. I mean, that he's too, those days are also past. Like he's old now. Like
I was about to say, I don't think Khris is out of shape. He doesn't look winded. I think his body's just failing him. That's it. So if we're talking in shape, like he's not trying and he can't get the cardio down. I don't necessarily see that. I see just somebody who it's hard to bend at the knees and at the hips.
Right.
Now, it's what, 35 going on 42?
Yeah. But he's also, I was trying to give him a backhanded compliment before Jay came on. He's also more muscular than he was in 2017. Like it's not like he was Kevin Durant.
He's
body type
33 in August.
Huh?
He just turned 33 in August.
Check your math. I'm pretty sure he's 39, but
it's kind of like what's his name?
He's got the body
and the maker. It's a
got the
maker thing. You're not really
Thon
sure.
Maker.
Khris Middleton wishes he has Thon Maker's
hairline. Trade me. Oh
yeah.
Man,
those are the days when. Anytime you can have like youth, the promise of youth, the promise of a new team, Jason Kidd, and a straight up conspiracy like a straight up Reddit conspiracy theory about like the age of an African. Like those are just the best times, which is also what funny. I'm sure we've said that's what happened to Ibaka like a million times. Like how old is Ibaka? Like if you told me Ibaka's 44 years old, like would you doubt that?
No, not even for a little bit.
How are you guys feeling about Jason Kidd right now? Having success.
Haven't thought about it one bit, but also I'm not watching TV.
Having success with Kyrie Irving and Daka Lucic, whatever how you were.
and what's his name? Splash Brother. The broken Splash Brother guy. What's his name?
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah. How do I feel? I'm falling.
Are you happy for him?
Falling butt backwards into another good, quality team. So no, I don't really care. I have a lot of animosity still towards Jason Kidd. I think that he wrecked a lot of things. He could have been great, but no, I don't really care. I don't like him. I don't care. I never did. I didn't like him as a player.
I just wonder if he's doing the same thing down there. Like, is it kind of the same Jason Kidd that we saw in Milwaukee, or is he adjusted?
Don't follow the Mavericks.
But you're like, for those of us who are parents, just the dynamic of part of it is, that's part of why Doc Rivers doesn't want to play the young guys, because he can't see. Look, they had all that beef with Rondo. Like Rondo was the young guy on the 2008 Celtics, and it's like part
I mean, keeping your pimp hand strong is part of the thing too. Yes, you have to keep your veterans happy, but also it's also the part of, well, you can't let the young guys come in and take over to be chaos, right? So part of it is like protecting your job, and like so, Jason Kidd with a young team is completely different than Jason Kidd with a veteran team. Also, like you give him a bunch of kids, you think he's going to listen to them? Like he doesn't seem to listen to anybody.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Jason Kidd anymore.
Those are great days. I don't know.
Trauma.
That's why you love Khris Middleton.
No, it's not.
That's it. You had to deal with Jason Kidd, and it's like, man, at least we got Khris Middleton.
I think Jason Kidd kind of broke Giannis. He gave him the point Giannis, but like, dude came in. I don't know who broke that shot of his, but he came into the league. Dude was actually that jump shot was a lot smoother. He's getting back to it now, but man, he went through some real herky jerky seasons.
And it's taken till now for the Bucks to get a coach that can fix Giannis, to actually teach him basketball. Doc is actually teaching these guys basketball.
I think Bud taught him a lot.
Can we
Bud
say
didn't teach him shoot the three? Like, what did he teach him?
So let's say another heresy here, as long as we're just like being truth tellers about stuff that like you're not going to get popular by talking about 2021. Can we agree stylistically? Just because that game where Giannis hit all the mid range, and I've seen some other games, the highlights where he's hitting like turnaround bank and he's going to the elbow and kind of getting to the spots where Portis always tries to get, but just making shots, just making me proud. We can admit, just as fans, that as great as it was making 18 out of 20 free throws or whatever it was, if randomly Giannis makes 7 out of 9 mid-rangers in that game 6 against the Suns, like that's better, right? Than making just aesthetically, like if all of a sudden Giannis was like red hot, it'd be better than dunks. It'd be better than like left-handed leaners and all this kind of stuff and all the kind of great plays or transition dunks. There's something about a guy just going off and hitting a bunch of mid-rangers that is aesthetically, I guess, more daring or whatever. And so I was so happy watching that game. And a part of it is just the scarcity of like the less basketball you watch, the more I'm excited. But like, we're going to get off this call right now and I'm not going to watch the Spurs game. I got to go to bed, but like, I don't care about the Spurs game. I don't know if y'all do, but I don't know. Like it'd be really great if Giannis fell off athletically, but all of a sudden had this jump shot. Like I would give him, I think it would really put him up higher in the notches. Cause the other fight that we're always having, Kendrick, on the group chat is the airball free throw kind of riddle. So I don't know. I'm still of a couple minds of all this, but I think Jay, before you came on, I don't want Butler. Like I can't possibly see that working. I almost feel like Silver would sabotage us if that happened.
I was about to ask, well, yeah, that's a different question. Do you believe he would make the team actively worse than it is? That's really the question you have to ask yourself and answer. And I'm not 100% sure, because obviously he could be a cancer. Like I'm not. But if he wanted to be traded here and he was really cared about playing basketball and he really wanted to win for real, he is better. If all that is fake nonsense and he's going to come in here trying to make everything work the way he wants to work, then no, we don't want him.
I don't.
I mean, has he proven
solution? By the way, there's a million other trades I would do before this one. It's not like, well, we have to do this. If we could find some 11th player off the bench who is 7'2", boxes it out and rebounds and can come off a screen, that's actually what we should be trading for. So,
I want to believe in Jimmy Butler, but I don't think there's enough proof there now to tell you that he wouldn't do anything but what you just said he would do. Come here and want to change things to what he wants.
I think he's a straight up crazy person. Yeah. I think he's gotten 10% crazier every year, and I think he's legitimately nuts. But to answer your question, does he make the team better? Yeah, maybe. But it's not like some people have like anger management problems and everything. I just think he's an insane narcissist, like the craziest insane. Like, I mean, that's
Like what kind of crazy are we talking about here? Like who are you comparing him to?
Have you seen speaking of Cat Williams, I mean you've seen the perm photo, like what, like he looks like he seems unwell. And like I get that, like he's doing the Heineken commercials or whatever the commercials, like for a while, like coming out of the bubble and Big Face Coffee and all that, he was having a moment and there was all this kind of stuff, and it was like WNBA players were saying he's the sexiest guy in the NBA. Like he had a moment where they were like, wow, he is the new bad boy, right? Like I mean, like a tertiary star, but they were like, this guy Jimmy Butler in Miami is like this crazy swashbuckling kind of guy. I think he went Hollywood nuts. I think he went Kanye nuts. And I think there's no because Giannis can be the nicest guy in the world. You're still not coming and knocking me off of my square in my city the only NBA city I've ever played at. Like that's not going to work. And like Lillard historically is a better player than him, probably, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. My argument all the time is defense versus offense. So I just don't want Butler because I think what you're saying, I don't know how crazy he is, but I do think he's toxic, and that can be his narcissism. It can be whatever, but I think he's a toxic guy.
I just don't know where he fits on this team.
The direction that the players are going, or what the team is going, is building with youth, because if you're going to try to keep Giannis, you got to try to build with the youth that we have, and you got to try to get better, younger up. You can't go out here getting some high price, malcontent that may or may not work out and is going to be gone next year. And then where are you at? You've given up even more assets and you're still trying to build from nothing,
Yeah.
They barely have enough now. I like Jay said, I would rather get a boxing out athletic big, that's just sitting on a bench languishing somewhere. Get a Lou Dort kind of player that can come in and knock down a three and play some, good defense. Those teams are trying to keep those guys too, but maybe you can package up, a Connaughton and whatever else you can find. I mean, Beauchamp doesn't have any trade value. I think he'll be off the team next year.
Just a salary.
Connaughton, if some team needs some players to get rid of losing money, that's the only thing that's going to make that a trade value. And they might get a late second round pick for him. I don't think they have a whole lot to get better. Bobby is their best asset, but I like Bobby. I like Bobby for the team. I like that he can get hot. He's not the best defender, but Dame's a sucky defender too. So I like Bobby. He can spell Brook.
Bobby's 3 inches away from being exactly who we need. It's not that he don't try; he's just too short to go get these rebounds. People keep rebounding
for a minute. Bobby was nothing but a double machine. So I don't know what happened. Why he's kind of taken a step back off of grabbing rebounds.
It seems like he can't lift. I've been watching. He's been in position, and it's not that he's not trying. He just can't get off the ground like the people behind him. It literally, he's doing the right stuff. He just can't lift.
Yeah, so Brooks' vertical is wow. It just makes you go, wow, these two tallest dudes on the floor cannot jump.
Mm-hmm.
But any reasonable person throughout any of this time would, to be fair, like I've never said it's any of the problems have always been Khris. They've been all these guys. It's been Khris and Bledsoe. It's been Khris and Brogdon and Bledsoe. It's been Drew and Khris. It's been and now the problem was, I think, for whatever reason online, it was like this was the year to blame Portis for everything. And I guess it's because Khris didn't start the season. It's been all of those guys the whole time. Brook is a lot slower, but it's like I have so much love for like what Brook did 2022 or 2023 or wherever, where he was like the second best player. There've been stretches where Brook Lopez has been like the second best player for half of multiple seasons. But I guess going back to the Butler thing, the thing that I would say, I don't think there's any expectation that people are going to be professionals like it would have been in the 80s or 90s. So back in the day, if like Barkley and Drexler and Pippen, or Barkley and any of those kind of things where people were like, we're really old and we're going to throw it together, maybe it wouldn't work. Or like Olajuwon, Barkley, and Drexler, whatever version happened. It's like, okay, so
they're going to have this is our chance. This is our final chance to get a ring. And you knew people were going to try. Maybe they'd have egos. And now, like, we've seen it with Harden. We've seen it with Embiid. We've seen it with Paul George. We've seen it with all these guys. Like, they throw them on different teams. And from the jump, nobody is saying, I just want to fit in. Nobody can even say the right things for 1 year. Nobody can do like the Andre Rison, like I'm crazy, but for 1 year, I'm going to act like I'm the greatest guy in the world. Like, people don't even do that for a year. So I have no expectation that Jimmy wouldn't be from day one. Like, I didn't want to be here. And he's like not on the list. I think they said, don't trade for me. Right.
Yeah.
So
that's what the rumor is.
So from 2025, there's no expectation that anybody's going to be like, well, I really want to get a ring. They're going to be like, well, all right, I'm making 48 million. I'm making $1 million a week, and you can't tell me anything. And it's not even like y'all really pay me. It's kind of like the league pays me because it's all collectively bargained. And it's just, I just, and he's older than everybody. There's just not as much upside. You know, and yes, we're however many months, we're like a year and a half removed from him just destroying us and saying this is my city in Drew Holiday's face. But I just don't. Gun to my
I don't know
head,
how he
think
makes
it works.
them better. I don't know how he makes the Bucks better.
Is this a we both turned our key at the same time situation? Because like when you actually think about what's happened here, without Jimmy Butler absolutely cooking Drew Holiday, we probably don't trade Drew so willy-nilly. He's probably still here. Dame probably goes to Miami, and Jimmy's probably not complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he absolutely toasted us, but accidentally killed himself in the same process because not getting Dame has made him one out. Right? No one over there is happy.
Was that in the Dark Knight? You have to become what you. Don't you have to become the villain to win the
long enough to become the villain?
Yeah.
Is that what about that expression?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel like Portis. I said that about Portis the championship year. After we won, I'm like, I still have that feeling like I love Bobby, but I think we all know where this ends.
Yeah.
Kicking some ref in the balls and then cussing out the whole city. Like, as much as I love Bobby, there's probably going to be there's an end to this, I guess is my whole point. And it's probably fairly ugly.
Yeah. Think so? Yeah. I want to believe the best in Bobby. I want to believe he came here and learned and became better.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's a very understandable thing. That's a crazy guy with a temper. That's like Bobby Portis thinks he's a good guy. Bobby Portis in the media positions himself as a great guy and a Mr. Milwaukee and the mayor and all this kind of stuff. He's a good guy with a temper who I think has lapses on the court.
Yeah, he's working with a local credit union.
But that's
we need to stop for a 5-minute sponsorship break, Chris.
They got him on buses and stuff for one of the credit unions out here.
Did they really?
Yeah. He's on their debit card.
Can I rant about that stupid Bucks BMO promotion for 5 seconds? Because I sent that text to y'all from a game from 4 weeks ago. So here's what's up, Kendrick. You're talking, Kendrick, but you're muted. I sent a screenshot of some dude's debit card number. He's only blocking the first 4 numbers. Those who know, the first 4 numbers are a set number for MasterCard or Visa. So you could guess those first 4.
A BIN number.
So all you need is the CVV number. And basically you say, well, how do you get the CVV number? There's only so many CVV numbers. It only goes up to 4 digits at most. So you could literally steal that dude's money. Why is this a promotion if you care about security? That's my 5-minute rant or 2-minute rant. I'm not going any further, but literally you can read his full name. He got his whole debit card information. Why is the promotion hold up your BMO card so we can steal your money?
Most people don't hold up their number. They'll block the whole thing, and it's just they can see the BMO down the other side. That's what I've seen in the arena. That guy was extra stupid, you know.
Is it odd to you guys? Because I know like the uniform thing and the aesthetics thing, but am I the only one who every time I watch a game, which has been not that often, but like Cloverleaf is the bad guy in Roger Rabbit, right? They killed the red car. Like, what is the sponsor that's like Clover? It's like a 4-leaf clover, right? It's like the exact same logo.
I think it's food or a payment system when you're there, when you order your food.
Yeah, Clover is a credit card processing thing. You know, they sell the machines and They collect a little bit of a fee. It's like Fiserv is actually, they make some of the machinery, but Clover is like one of those processors. Stripe. A lot of people use Clover system. They have their whole menu on there. You can, you probably used it during the lockdown. You can go on Clover website or, and find a restaurant you want to go to and order it online and delivery and all that stuff. So credit processor kind of deal.
How often do you see, what is it, 32 degrees outside the Bucks arena? Whatever the name is, the multi-tiered gun turrets that shoot shirts that they put Bango in every game.
Oh,
just like 32 degrees or something like that, isn't it?
I don't know what number they have.
Oh, it's like something Fahrenheit. It's like like whatever. Yeah.
And what is that product? I don't even know what that product is.
Okay. They bring that out.
32 degrees
once a game.
Yeah, well, they bring it out during commercial breaks. Shoot brats, t-shirts. Yeah.
$4.99 men's cool classic crew t-shirt.
Bang.
32degrees.com. Never been here before in my life. Well, I guess it worked. They got me to go to the website.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. That's all it takes. One click.
One click.
That's it.
Again, like I'm just trying. I would just go back to the Jimmy thing. I just don't think. Where does he fit on the team? Does he make you better? Like, he
makes you possibly better in the playoffs when people are acting like punks. Outside of that, chemistry-wise, he might kill you before you make it. That is the Russian roulette that you would play with trading for him. So it is a gamble.
I just don't know.
I would not make, like I said, this is not something I would promote. If we're just talking about moving those 3 pieces, go ahead and do it. I like that better only because it gets Middleton off the team. However, I do believe Middleton will be more serviceable if we used him in the appropriate.
That's what I'm saying. What are you going to do next year when he doesn't want to play here?
Who, Butler?
Right.
Yeah.
He's gone.
What are you going to do next year when Middleton is in Paul Pierce's wheelchair?
Well, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about Middleton and Bobby. I mean, like you lose.
But if you have Middleton and Bobby, you at least have 2 guys. You have 2 options, right? One guy gets hot, you can play him. You know what I mean? Like Butler's not hot. He's not giving you nothing.
I don't like it. But to each his own.
I don't think anyone here, if this was their trade to make and their job was on the line, would make this trade.
I would. What do you guys think about that Cam Johnson with Brooklyn right now?
Was he available?
I heard that he probably will be available before.
I think
the trade
Brooklyn's
deadline.
shedding, right? They're shedding salaries and they got like a massive amount of picks.
He's like 6'10", 6'11", right?
No, he's not that tall, is he?
He's pretty big.
He is a big guy.
Bucks give him more assets so
that
they can trade 2 years from now to get Giannis for like 8 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, he's not that tall, but I liked him. I
haven't scrutinized his defense, and that's what we need. He's a good piece, though. Don't get me wrong.
He's young. Well, he's 28. 3 years. 4 years.
In your mind, who are you giving up for him?
Well, I'm just everybody's talking about Middleton. I'm just saying who's going to come out and give you 18 points a game?
Is Cam Johnson the guy on the Suns who dunked on PJ's head in that finals game? And
he used to play with the Suns. Mm-hmm. Now he's on Brooklyn.
And I think it was maybe a game that we won, so we never saw it again. But it was like, yeah,
it was a good dunk. Oh, I know what I wanted to bring. I was scrambling. What do you guys? I hate to say it, but I've come fully on the side of Ben Wemby. It's just like, who do I care?
Yes,
the 7'5" dude dunks. Like they act like he really did something.
Give in to your anger. Yes.
I just don't understand the love. I'm like, everybody makes threes. So a 7-footer? Wow. I know they're trying to create a new face, a new young guy. Mm-hmm. I just don't get it. He's 7'5" or
I'll
4.
say this.
He should block everybody who comes in his purview. And he should be able to dunk everything thrown up anywhere near him. I don't get the fascination. He's not doing anything spectacular.
Don't worry about it.
Manu Bull could dunk.
I don't think you'll have to deal with this that long. He'll be out for a year within the next 2 years and maybe never return. If you watch him, it is literally a bunch of bones and skin roughly together flopping around. He's not built to last.
Somebody took a picture or blowed up a part of his feet from the shin down and said it looks like he wears a size 36 extra narrow. I don't know how he's able to. If that's what they're marveling over, then yeah, like this literal human stick man is not falling apart and not broken and shattered into a million pieces. But dunking the ball is not a thrill for me for somebody that tall. Shooting a three, everybody shoots threes. I don't care.
He looks like every 3-year-old who's ever dunked on that plastic hoop inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, technically you dunked, but I saw your toes still touching the ground, but yay, I'll clap like this.
Exactly.
Well, see, the problem though is just the league. It's not the problem. It wasn't Ralph Sampson, and the problem isn't Giannis, and the problem isn't Wemby. Like, it's okay to have a doll seam, and like, and even like, so what? Like, Zion is like Balrog, but you like if he was playing if he was playing in a league with Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley and stuff, it'd be really interesting that every once in a while he'd get free and dunk, and other plays like guys would knock him out of the air or whatever. But there's like no friction. The NBA, like Silver's NBA, has created such this like frictionless, like neutered game that like, yeah, who cares? But it would be interesting if he like outflanked people and then just dunked on them real easily, making like 7 moves. That's interesting. But like, just why would that ever be? It's like, it's not sexy being 7'5" and none of those guys, Chet Holmgren, like, I don't know why anybody thought that was ever going to work.
And small side tangent, why I go completely old man and rant about this young generation. I chastised my son in front of a group of strangers the other day because we were at the basketball courts, and he made a business decision not to play defense so he didn't look bad getting dunked on.
It's the worst.
This is not how you teach sports. If you're afraid about how you look, it's not like, that's literally what it is. It's about a conflict about you can't get better avoiding conflict. That's not what sports are. Like, it's who's going to man up and maybe get embarrassed occasionally. That is why.
I think that's what people love about Giannis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Giannis gets dunked on and will dunk on, and he takes offense to being dunked on and then tries to dunk on you. That's what makes it fun to watch.
Yeah. What do you guys think is the problem with viewership in the league? What is your issues with it?
I'm going
individually.
Last. I'm going last. We can end on this.
Okay.
A bunch of cowards think I want to watch them shoot warm-up threes in the corner. A bunch of refs not calling moving screens, which means no one can really play defense. A bunch of refs calling ticky-tack fouls and letting these professional men get calls that you wouldn't get up the court or expect your kid to get at an elementary game. All of these things have combined it to be, hey, who can shoot well tonight? I don't want to see 130 points to 140 point games ever. It should always be between 80 to 100. Like, you watch good games, those good games are frustrating, and it takes sweat and tears to make sure you win. Basketball is not football where you just play it all on all emotion. Good basketball players and good basketball teams should be winning because they've got the intangibles down, which means what you can control, which is supposed to be defense. Anyone can miss a bunch of shots a night. Can you overcome being off and still winning? That's what basketball is supposed to be about. And it's supposed to be a head-to-head thing, like all this zone and swapping to get a 7'2" guy on me because I'm faster than him. I mean, that's not really fun. If a guard can dunk on the center, that's fun. If the first guard gets by and the center's still below and they're trying to dunk on Lopez, that's very entertaining. And also, like, the fans, the prices they charge at the games have made it an elite corporate event on the lower level where these people don't know the sport, don't care about the sport, and they're just trying to close a deal. Like, all of this, you read it through the screen too, right? People not cheering when someone gets dunked on. You watch like someone get an amazing dunk and an amazing block, maybe outside of like certain stadiums like Golden State and Boston, most people don't leave their feet, which begs the question, is this entertainment to y'all? Those are all the things that come to my brief mind without composing a full list. But also, there's no longer in a 6'10", like Lonzo types that are mainly for the point of just staying below, trying to block shots. The conflict at the rim is missing. That's what I'll say.
I think those are all really good points. I think there's some just human stuff that makes the league a little less fun to watch. A lot of people don't understand the skill that they're seeing. I don't think that they haven't played the game themselves, and so they don't really get it. It's really easy to understand when someone throws a touchdown pass or gets lit up, a hit across the middle. So, I mean, that's a little bit easier to understand. There's a lot of nuance to basketball that I think people don't understand. The other part of that story, I think, is socially, it's not a social event. When I was growing up, I feel like we had a lot of like Sunday afternoon NBC games. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that anymore. Football is that, all Sunday is all football. Come over, let's hang out, let's watch the game. I mean, who's coming over on a Wednesday night to watch the Bucks game at 8:30? Here in Milwaukee. So, it's just it has naturally become a corporate event because of the timing of the games. The games are in the evening. I mean, Monday Night Football doesn't do well either. So I think there's some just natural parts that people are just misunderstanding and just don't have the time and energy for.
Can't agree with all of that, both of you, Kendrick.
I think agree with a lot of everything you guys have said. I will reiterate what Jay kind of said. I don't want to see a 3-point competition. The analytics, I get it to a certain degree, but it's just gone a little bit insane where, 50-50, your shot's going to go in or out, so might as well shoot this. But some of these guys are shooting 30% and their coaches are telling them shoot the three. The guys are passing the ball back out from underneath the rim to a guy to shoot a three. I'm like, take the two, let's roll. It's just bombs away, and that's just not attractive or fun to watch. I think that's part of it. The refereeing quality has just gone down. I mean, we must have lost a lot of good veteran refs because what was left over is just trash. And it could be the way they're dictating that they call the game, but the ticky-tack foul. Now they got away from it to a small degree of the Harden and the Khris, CP3 swipe around and all that kind of stuff, but still a jump shoot. Let the guys play defense, call moving screens, call traveling, call all these things. Those are keeping.
Do you enjoy watching college basketball?
I enjoy watching girls basketball better than guys basketball.
I enjoy watching pros because they are generally better, but we don't not like watching college basketball because the rules are enforced.
Oh, I can't stand watching college basketball because of the rules.
Or even when we watch when they do the FIBA stuff, when they do the international competitions, that style of referee is way more attractive.
Yeah, I'll agree with
than
that.
what we see in the. I'm not saying go to college, but adopt a lot of the FIBA rules and be more strict with traveling, moving screens. That's all I'm saying.
This isn't hard to solve. Did the guy do his move on purpose to get an offensive foul? That includes running up someone's back because you stopped and then you jump back. All that. It's not hard to call. Don't call it by the letter of the law and go by what was obvious that this dude did it on purpose on the offensive end. If you're going to try to on purpose draw contact, well, that's on you. And then the game is so much better, right? Yeah. For instance, like the drop the shoulder, just don't call it either way then.
Right. Just let it roll out. Let it roll.
If he makes it, fine. But if not, oh well. Don't like, and I know what I'm saying, like eliminate certain players off the league completely, right? The guard for the Hawks would not survive these changes. But I would argue.
Oh, pubic hair dude?
Yeah, exactly. I would argue that like no one wants to really watch him play. right? All the alley-oop dunks are like a foregone conclusion. Why? Because they allowed a moving screen for him to get between his defender. Now he's going to either throw the alley-oop or jump backwards while he shoots a jump shot and get a foul call. It's not about whether the defender could guard him or not. The refs let him get away with something illegal, and now the defense can't get back.
Nobody's watching the game for that.
Well, that was
who watches the Hawks games? That's my whole point. Who watches the Hawks games? Period. Who watches the Hawks games? That should be entertaining, right? That's the point.
Hawks fans.
That is the basis. Just because you're saying no one cares about that rule, the rule leads to bad offense that no one wants to watch.
I think the officiating is. I think there's some problems with officiating. I don't think it's about a moving screen. I think it's about some of the casual fan watches a big game, a marquee game. At the end of the game, when the game is close and a bad call is made, they immediately default to it's rigged. You can't blow.
That's on them, though.
You can't blow big calls on marquee games where the casual fan is watching. That's what happens. I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, Jay, that a moving screen changes your whole defense. I totally understand that, but I don't think you're talking about the casual fan worrying about that.
But I would say they're related. The casual fan nowadays only watches the last 3 minutes of the games because the first so many minutes is not entertaining, right? And now what you're getting down to is I feel cheated, and that's all I watched for. Before, you could go to a game and be like,
right.
Man, that was a really good game. They screwed us at the end. However, it was fun to watch. Now it is not that. It is only do we win or lose because none of it's entertainment.
Right. It is a feeling of being cheated. And if you don't understand the game, you're not really – it's kind of like baseball in a way. Like if you don't understand the strategy, that's one of the reasons baseball is awful because of what they did in the NL and took the pitcher out. Playing defense. So like if you don't understand some of the stuff that goes into the play call or that pick and roll or that give and go or whatever it is or that defense that's being played, yeah, you feel cheated because it was kind of a boring game. And then at the end, it's like a movie that's kind of boring and you're waiting for the end of it to be great and it ends up kind of not being great. Right?
I will just add my other last thing is that you guys talk about it's become a corporate event. It has become expensive and very difficult to go with, you and your 4 kids you're a family of 4 to a game. You're going to be out $150, $200, even if you buy $27 seats.
To watch Detroit.
So that's
the other thing.
It's expensive. Yeah, exactly. On a Wednesday night in January for Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. So it's expensive. But then when you're at the game, you're talking about there's nobody cheering because there are these lulls. There are all these foul calls and free throws. What do we have in our hands to distract us? So fans, and I'm looking on my phone. I'm tweeting you guys. I'm talking to you guys. So a lot of fans are just into when a commercial comes up, if something happens, if we recorded it, everybody's on their phone sending that to their buddies. They're man, blah, 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 blah. They're putting it on social media. So I see so many heads down during the game. It's not, people aren't fully engaged even when they're there. So it's not always a corporate thing. It's not always super expensive and it keeps people away. The arenas be packed. But it's a secondary thing that's happening while they're there with their friends, whether they be there or in the cloud, whether they're texting or whether they're sitting next to them. It's not something that they're engaged in when the whistle blows and in between plays. So that to me is what has distracted a lot of people. And so when people are at home, I mean, I had Cubs when I was in my last few years on the fire department. They couldn't sit through a whole movie. It was just too long for them. An hour and a half movie or an hour long show, 45-minute long show. They couldn't sit through it. They're used to YouTube, 15-minute videos tops. 15 is too long for them. So it's the younger generation. I mean, baseball, I don't know how they're going to survive. I really don't.
It shouldn't.
They're going to continue to try to fix these rules and all this stuff, and most of their fans are going to be people that played it, are playing it, and that's going to be it. I don't know how they're going to survive.
Basketball survived because it can always be played in a much smaller arena.
Basketball will be fine because I think they have enough fans that are homers that they're still going to go to the game, but it's not going to be loud like you guys want it to be, like people talk about. And eventually they're going to keep pricing people out. Families just aren't going to be able to go.
Yeah.
And then, my other point, you can barely find a game. Like you guys were talking about coming and see a game on NBC. They've saturated the market, but now it's on behind all these pay screens. You can't even see the games you really want to watch. I get blackout at home, but you can't see so many key games, and they're not even allowing their product to go out there because they sold it all to all these people. And now
right.
I wonder what's going to happen with that once these Amazon and these people are seeing that it's not worth the money.
Yep.
So I've been kind of quiet because I've been deleting stuff off. So Kendrick, we only missed about 30 seconds of what you said, but I basically got it. So I've been quiet.
Oh, no problem, man.
But I've been listening.
I was just talking to you guys.
No. So I think
obviously this is a good question because we all went off pretty quick without having to practice or rehearse. So,
and I have 8 other things. So here's what I'll try not to repeat. I'm gonna make this video at some point. I kind of set a date of February 2nd or something just to set a date. But like we've been really busy. I don't think I'm actually gonna do that. But I think all the stuff that we all been talking about, like I wanted to make Basketball is Beautiful Volume 3 about that. Just all of a sudden it popped, and all of a sudden people were really complaining about the NBA. It was like the craziest thing. Like I don't think it's been that much worse than it. I was just as frustrated in 2019. Like it's been progressively worse because I think it was sort of bad before, but you had like the Warriors and LeBron. Like those years were pretty good, where you were those years were pretty good comparatively, and so it was like the Raptors year was a satisfying. There were satisfying playoff runs, and obviously 21. But so here's what I'll say, not to repeat what anybody else has said. I think this is the Dan Campbell thing, the inverse of that. It's like for years, coaches like punted on the opponent's 40 on 4th and 3 because they didn't want to get blamed, and that's just what people did, and people played it safe, and people Mike Sherman'd it up, and it was just, and it's not like it was completely wrong. And what Dan Campbell, he's like a comic book version of this, but basically he's like the exact opposite. I'm basically going to try to go every 4th down within reason. I'm gonna be a comic supervillain of going for it on 4th, and it's like the same instinct. It's not actually decisiveness. But even with that being said, like what football provides is plays that we can criticize because it's so results based. Like if one of these sweeps for the Packers works, nobody's going to say he shouldn't have ran the other 8 times where it was a terrible call. But like, especially as dudes, we're just like, well, that didn't work. It keeps not working. Why are you doing this? Why aren't you getting the tight end involved? Why aren't you? There's stuff that can be criticized. And I think it's not like 3-pointers are dope, man. Like 3-pointers are great, but it's supposed to be a money ball. It's supposed to be like, oh, here it comes. He's going for 3. And the players are supposed to have a decision has to be made. But from the bummiest bum, like when we were growing up, it was like, well, I don't know if I'm happy with Kukoc taking that. I'm happy with John Paxson taking that, and Craig Hodges could take that. I don't know if I want Horace Grant taking that shot. Like that's how everything was. How many games did you watch where they were like, oh, that's a little early in the shot clock for that? It's like wide open Reggie Miller, but it's like, oh, if it misses, it's like, well, that's a little early for that shot. And I thought that was excessive. But ultimately, we want to feel like the players are like playing chess, man. It's not, and actually, it's one of the things I respect about Khris. If Khris starts out 0 from 2 from 3, he does not want to go 0 for 3. Like he'll just stop doing it. I kind of hate it, but it's a very old school mentality where like guys used to have to be like, well, this isn't working. I'm gonna do this. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to go to my C thing. Like Kobe 6 for 24. I guess I'm getting rebounds because I'm trash today. I don't want to be trash. I want it so bad, but I guess I'm gonna have to help some other kind of way. And as I think as guys, we respond to like, hey, no excuses, just win.
Not like, well, I'm 1 for 11 from 3. What are you going to do? Like I'm the Rockets, whatever that year is, and we're 0 for 27. What are you going to do? That's what we're supposed to do. And like, it's okay if like one or two crazy coaches does that. If like D'Antoni or like one or two crazy like Maverick coaches are like, we're doing this every single time, but it can't be every single coach does it. And that's why on Inside the NBA, up until Steph Curry, like they were like, this doesn't work because it didn't work. They're like, well, you can't win shooting threes because ultimately, like you're gonna crap out. It's gonna be snake eyes. Like ultimately, you're gonna lose all your money. And so that's the one thing I think we want. Not so much the strategy as far as like what play we're running or what sets or what screens or all this kind of stuff. But I think people want accountability because ultimately dudes want to complain about whatever just happened. And nobody wants to hear it was the right thing, it didn't work, even if that's true. The other thing that I think I'm going to start this video out on, if I ever make this video, is I just think, and I'm sure I've said this before, there is no room in sports for caring about people's ankles. You cannot care about people's ankles. Every time you see an incredible toe tap touch in the NFL, you're seeing a DB draped over a guy. And every once in a while, we accept that we're going to see a horrific ankle injury, right? Like you couldn't stop it no matter what you did. But what the NFL provides, what even baseball, what every single sport provides is bodies in motion, right? Which is why like the paint being packed is interesting. It's like, wow, there were 5 guys there and Sean Kemp dunked over all of them. Like that's great. That's incredible. But that's what we like. It's not like just the dunk. It's like, wow, I don't even know how he landed there. And so when you see these like Odell Beckham Jr. style catches in the NFL, like there's a risk inherent in that. And like like going back to the Greeks and Romans, it's like bodies in motion. So what we want to see is people flying down the court. And one more thing, I forget who put up I think I put it up. There was a girl, there was either, I don't even think it was WNBA. It was maybe it was some high school chick. And she did some sort of inverted Iverson crossover. And I'm like, yo, I miss crossovers. Don't you miss crossovers before they let you travel? It's not even so much the old band they're traveling. You used to have to do a crazy move, and every once in a while, you could really get somebody going left and basically make them bow-legged. We don't see that at all anymore. And even me, and we played guard mostly. Like, you forget how much you miss. And the fast break, you miss Magic Johnson or Jason Kidd going down the lane. He's got 2 steps. He's going to pick up his dribble. He's going to make 27 moves. And all of a sudden, I didn't even see Kenyon Martin. Well, the lob went to Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin comes from out of the screen. And all of a sudden, the lob is to somebody you didn't even see. And it happens in 2 seconds. You're playing defense. There's a rebound. And all of a sudden, defense becomes offense. And it's like 2 gazelles filling the lane. And it was like the dopest thing to see some guy every once in a while. He kept it and did a finger roll. And so every little bit of what they've taken away from this, I don't think I've ever heard anybody really talk about that aspect of it. And actually what you guys said is more important, but it's like the little things that we miss. It's not just, we want to see fights or when we see low scorers, but it's like they took so much of the beauty of the game where it's like, I don't know. So I have a lot to say about that, but I think that's at least part of it. It's just like fast breaks, conflict, passing. There's a lot of stuff that I just kind of miss. And it's just people used to come up with new crossovers, right? Because you couldn't really travel in the same kind of way. And every once in a while, you'd be like, oh, wow, that's a brand new move. The last move was like the move that ended all other moves was a Euro step. And once they came up with the Euro step, you don't need any other moves anymore because you can just like take a slow left step and a slow right step and shoot or pass to a 3-point shooter. So that's a lot, but that's how I feel about it.
But isn't the travel basically the same thing as the pitch clock in baseball?
Go on.
So like the travel leads to more dunks ultimately, or more exciting plays, explosive plays, because they let Steph and Harden do a little step back. That's a travel too, right? Baseball says, hey, look, we're going to take this nuance out. You're not going to be able to do this strategy. You're going to have more tired pitchers. It's going to happen faster, which is going to lead to more home runs, which is what everybody wants to see. No one wants to see singles or double switches. So they don't call travel as hard. because they want it to lead to some crazy dunk that you never would have seen. Didn't Zion just do that 360 dunk like last night or something? That's essentially, I mean, I'd have to go back and look at it, but you don't really get off a 360 without traveling.
Yeah, sort of. But even like the baseball thing, I mean, ultimately that's what people who watch baseball say. It's like, you sometimes, like now, they just swing for the fences, right? Every play. Like, isn't that the criticism also of baseball? It's like a similar kind of thing. It's like nobody's trying to be Tony Gwynn anymore or Paul Molitor. It's like we're swinging for the fences, and if everybody's Rob Deere, right? It's like we're just going to strike out and hit home runs.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, if you're that player, that kind of player is awesome, but that's supposed to be like everything is balanced, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that, kind of what you were talking about, the product on the court doesn't look good. I mean, even from the eye test, it's not good. Nobody came to watch an NBA game to see 60 3-pointers shot per game. Well, there was a game other day.
AJ's got like 5 of them right now, so I'm cool with the
5
right?
of them. That's cool. I'm glad they're winning, but I'm saying that the product doesn't look good. It's not like Ben is talking about. The game used to be poetry in motion, man. It used to be beautiful. It used to be schemes and cuts, and you're seeing some of that on a small degree. But I mean, you got jabronis just bombing. I mean, they had a game the other day. They had 52 3-point attempts already by halftime. I mean, nobody wants to see 60 to 100 3-point attempts per game. Even if they're making them, okay, my team won, but that's not a product that's going to pull people in. That's not a product that's going to create stars. Everybody isn't going to be a Curry. We like when there was Craig Hodges, Dan Marley, those it was sprinkled in there. Now it's 40% of the game.
Yeah,
there was a sequence. It's not attractive. It's not entertaining to watch. We watch because we want to see our team win. We're a bunch of nerds, We're not that average guy. That's why everybody's down at their phone. There's nothing pulling people to keep your eye. Watch Magic Johnson do this. Watch Jordan. Watch this. You see Ant do some stuff here and there, but even him, he's jacking up, his 8 to 10, 12 3-points per game too. Well, it's just
there was a sequence.
It's not an attractive. It's not fun to watch.
Sequence in this game early on. Brook took a 3. Didn't hit rim, hit the backboard, and then Giannis took one, did the same thing. I think there was 3 possessions in this game where the Bucks shot 3s and didn't hit rim.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats.
Who wants to see that?
Well, tell me.
Wemby and Brook, the 2 tallest dudes on the courts on both sides, had the most 3s between their teams for a minute. Somebody on the Spurs eventually eclipsed Wemby, but it's just like these big old jokers. Get down in the paint where you belong. Become a good passer. Do your job.
Do you guys feel? Because I feel psychologically, when a guy on my team hits a 3, it used to be elation, and now it's like relief. It's like Dame shoots, and you're like, you better make some of these. And when it goes in, you're sort of happy, but it's sort of like, okay. You know what I mean? And it's totally the inverse of kind of the relationship. The relationship is supposed to be like, here comes the money ball, here comes the big gamble. Oh, great. You're supposed to be elated by getting an extra point, as opposed to, like, I first experienced this when we had pretty much washed Kyle Korver, and all he could do is hit 3s, but he could hit them and he could make 2, but you were just like, this is what you're here to do. And when he made one, I wasn't happy. I was just relieved. And it was like, okay, all right, fine. Great. You have no purpose other than to do this one thing. And it just, I don't know. It's, and if the kids were like, this is the best game ever, you're crazy, then you'd be like, well, somebody's enjoying this. But it seems like all of a sudden, in unison, everybody's agreed that they're not enjoying it. So it's not just us.
I prefer my big men. Pause.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I prefer my NBA centers to do their work in the paint. I like, Olajuwon, Ewing, Malone. I like to see those guys get that ball, do their magic, spin around, get that jumper. That was more entertaining than seeing Brook shoot it from the logo. I mean, it's great when it goes in, but I don't know. it was a more. I guess it's what we're used to, but this game today, it's not fun to watch. That's why you get so frustrated with the calls and all this other stuff. All that stuff probably has been happening. Refereeing hasn't changed. It's just the game is so spread out. You see these glaring mistakes. I mean, there was tons of fouls back in the day that players didn't get, but I don't know. It's not a beautiful looking product. It's not poetry in motion. It's a 3-point contest. It's a carnival event where you can win a stuffed animal. It's just trash. People shooting threes that should not be shooting threes.
All right, so I'm going to chop this up into 2 episodes maybe, because I think we've done probably a half hour just on the what's wrong with the NBA.
What's wrong with it? Yeah, and I got to get going too.
yeah. So final call, Jay, Packers, Eagles. Give me a score.
You said perfect weather?
Yeah, it seems to be just cold.
Eagles 38, Packers 27.
Crib.
34-17 Eagles.
Kendrick.
Dang, that's cold-blooded.
He's laughing.
27-17. 27-20. 27-20 Eagles.
27-24 Packers. We will
yeah. They're missing too much on defensive secondary.
We're due.
I think that they will do decent enough with Jacobs. We need Wicks and Reed to catch the ball, man. Wicks, man, fast as lightning, gets open, drops too many drops this season. If we can tighten that up, we might be able to squeak one out. But that'll be it.
Doesn't matter.
I always wonder why there wasn't a stat. Maybe there is a stat, but there should be a stat for first downs converted by a receiver on third or fourth down, like fourth down catches or third down catches for first down. It's like the most important thing that doesn't show up in fantasy or anywhere, but it's like that's where we've just been leaking. It seems like it's like almost as important as the interception, and it just doesn't. Because the drops have just been awful from everybody.
Yeah,
and maybe it was like this before, but I wasn't really watching Packers games like that last year. So.
Oh, I'll give you another stud, Kraft.
Yeah,
Kraft's a stud. Crib.
I didn't say it only because they don't throw it to him enough. But
what?
We asked that question like 3 times.
I'm not saying he's bad. They don't work him into the offense enough. That's the only reason I didn't say it.
Took you 2 hours to remember him. He's so good.
Oh, it takes me a lot longer to remember a lot of things.
But again,
in the season, he averaged under 5 throws to him a game. That's really what it comes down. It's not his fault.
Oh, he is a tight end, but he's caught the most balls since Finley for a tight end. Not more than him, but
who's the other kid that they got at tight end that's been hurt this year?
The other one.
He was supposed to be a stud.
He was supposed
to be the one, but he can't stay healthy. Yeah. I think he is healthy right now, but they haven't really thrown the ball to him much.
It won't matter. I mean, Barkley's going to have an amazing game.
But if we get the
ridiculous.
If we get the, I mean, obviously you say this about any team. If we get the lead, Jalen Hurts doesn't scare me.
Guess who shot?
But if we're down 14-3, we're screwed. You know.
Guess who made a 3 over Wembyama? I'm telling you, that boy's good. Did you
see him take that 31 footer back
I'm just watching. I just got stats. I'm not watching the game. I would probably have tuned you guys out a long time ago if I was watching it.
Yeah, I didn't put it on for that reason too. But now that you say we're rapping.
All right, I'm going to bed.
I do. Oh, it's halftime. What? Bring it up at halftime.
It's quarter.
You can go back and watch it now.
It's quarter to 11 on the East Coast.
Oh man.
Oh, what a shame.
And it's
you're North or South Carolina? I keep forgetting.
South. It's also 29 degrees here right now. So
it's 14 here. So
no bueno.
Yeah.
But you deserve it.
When it was 23, I was like, oh, this ain't so bad. But 14,
wearing shorts.
No matter how you slice it, that one bites.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Good to see you guys.
Yep.
Bye.